What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Pokemon Rants. For anybody who's ever worked in a kitchen at scale, knows it can deliver the hottest fires, yet the coldest steel. However, it's not the extreme temperatures that everybody comes for. It's the mouth-watering meals, beautifully displayed with the personal touches that keep the customers coming back time and time again. But the truth is, that's not the real value in the kitchen. So, what is it then? It's the leadership, and that's not to be confused with management. This perhaps is more valuable than any meal ever served or revenue generated. Why would that be? That's because the meals can change the night, the day, the experience, but true leadership changes lives forever. And Chef is just that leader that we all need and want to have in our kitchens. So let's put on our toques, get in the kitchen, and start cooking. Chef, welcome to Pokemon Wonder.
What up? Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good to have you, my friend. Good to have you.
Honor to
Thanks
be
everybody
here.
for
Thank
stopping
you.
by, man.
Yeah.
Chef,
Thank you,
do us the
everyone.
honors. Do us the honors, my man. Give an intro. Let us know how you got into Pokemon, and we'll kick it off.
All right. So my name's Matt. Everybody calls me Chef. I'm an executive chef partner in real life. I've done that job with the company I'm at now. It'll be 11 years this year. I've been in the industry. It'll be 22 or 23 years.
Nice.
35. I've been since I was 14. But how I got into Pokemon, I'm the generation four, right? I'm the Gen One guy. So me
Right.
and a buddy of mine, cards came out. It was the hot thing in our world. And we loved them. We just started collecting them. I was already collecting stuff.
Mm.
My grandfather got me really into collecting, and a little bit my brother and my dad, because they did sports cards, but my grandfather always did
Mm.
coins. And I think looking back, that's kind of like what kicked everything off. So fast forward, Pokemon comes out. It's crazy in our world, but we were collecting cards, but we were playing. Like we played the game. Everybody that
Right.
I knew, we all played. So it was a cool thing to do. We played, and then Toys R Us was having tournaments at a bunch of kids our age and everything. Like it was like, whoa, what is happening? Like this is cool. So it was going to like religiously, like all the turn, like every week, every week, every week. I'd be with my best friend. His name's Derek, and then his mom would take us, and we'd go, and she'd always get us food on the way back and stuff, and she always cooked too, so I was always eating over there. But I knew, we went, we were gonna have a good time, and then there was food later, so it was always like good
That's a good
vibes,
time. That's a good time.
great time. But I got into Pokemon that the card. I mean, it was just really cool, really new, and then the game itself was it was awesome, man. It was really awesome. Yeah.
So you did the cards first, then got into the game.
It was like the same time. Like it was like, what is
Okay.
this? What is going on? And then learning the game. And that was it. Like it was all about the game. And then we knew like, hey, this is a nice card. Let's like hoard it, like let's put it away with like everything else, like coins and like baseball or sports. Like I knew like when I had Ken Griffey Jr. cards, that's my guy. So Ken Griffey Jr. anything, I was like sleeving up, putting in whatever. I learned that, from my brother. And then
Hmm.
my grandfather with the coins, when he would have a good one, he's got a particular everything. So I knew when something looked nice or something was like, wow, I'd tuck that one away, and then I would get like something else or the same to play with, to like use in
Hmm.
the decks or whatever. So I had separate, so I had binder and decks, and they
Right.
never combined, ever, ever, never,
That's
man.
when your friend went to go take a card out of the binder. You're like, no, 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 no. Leave that in the
Nah,
binder.
yeah,
You
you
can
don't
look at the
touch
one
the
I play with.
binder.
It's over here.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
that's
glad to see
true.
we have some good binder behavior starting early, and yeah,
Big
that's
time.
one of the things that we're lacking. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So did you stick with the games and the cards up until what stage? College or?
And until it was lame to not, to do that, to have them.
Yeah.
You get older, and you get too cool and girls, and you start running that route. So I've never like been out of Pokemon, but I got busy, and like navigating life and all
Right.
that. So like everything got put on pause, and then same thing. What brought everybody back is the boom, right? So boom was bringing us back, or brought me back, and what really did it was there was a guy I used to work with. He used to work at my job. His name was Dakota, and he brought in a pack one day, and it wasn't like nothing crazy. I think it was like something vivid voltage, something early like sword and
Okay.
shield. It might have been that, or like even as far as like brilliant stars, something like that. And I was like, let me see what you got there, and, like, open it,
What's that?
yeah. So when he did that, when we opened that pack, that was it. That was it. And then I was like,
Yeah.
we're Target is right across the street from like where I work. So I was like
It's
running over there, grabbing packs. And then fast forward like way later, like Pokemon Go came out, and he
okay.
brought in like 6 packs or something like that. And he gave me 3, and he had 3. So we're opening them back for on his last pack. The guy hits the Mewtwo. And at the time,
Oh,
that
nice.
Mewtwo, which is like 20-30 bucks now, at the time it was $180.
Yeah, you
So
went crazy.
he hit the Mewtwo, and we were in my office in the back of the kitchen, and somebody thought like a fight was happening. Somebody got
You
stabbed
guys were
because we were
screaming.
like, oh my god, oh my god, like going crazy. And then there was another guy who was sitting in between us. Right, it was me. This guy, he's really tall. He's like Dan, but I call him Treetop. And Treetop Treetop was sitting next to us, and then it was Dakota and Treetop's. He's sitting, but he's like the same height as us. And when we opened it, he's just like looking at us, and he's just like, I don't know what's happening, But we
Get
were going,
excited.
yeah,
Yeah,
we were going
I love
crazy.
it.
And then also that, since that too, I was hooked. And then I did a master set of Pokemon Go like immediately. I was like, oh, there's only like 87. It's
That's it.
just like the old cards, 87. There's not 550. So I'm like, oh, I could do that. So I started, and then now everything just been snowballing, snowballing,
Yeah,
snowballing, and
all
then just
downhill
deeper,
from there.
deeper. Yeah. But then once you get into the YouTubes and you find your way down the rabbit
Yeah,
hole, and then you're all
you
in there, and then you're waving at
end up on
Dan
a
and all that.
podcast. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. You end up here. That's what it is.
Where does it stop, my friend? Where does it stop?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. I like it. I like it. And did you get to keep all your stuff from when you were little, or and you got to carry
Uh,
it? You pulled it back out?
yes and no. I sold a
Yeah.
lot of it. I was selling stuff around that time. I was buying a house, and I needed like to
Yeah.
come up with some extra money. So I sold stuff then, and that made me sad. It was like bittersweet. Like you don't want to sell it, but you're like, hey, it's either this or that. So you sold it,
Yeah.
and then I sold a lot of like bulk stuff off, and kind of got. I got bamboozled because I didn't
Mm,
know what I had. And then also dude, when I was selling some cards, it was, hey, buy this card and I'll give you this one just because. And it was like a
wow.
vintage fossil card with just one scratch, but it's like perfect. But I had no idea. Like to me, I'm like, oh, that card's ruined. But there's like a whole market, lightly play, low play, moderate play. So like I didn't know. So I'm like, man, these cards are selling, man.
Yeah. So this is
But
going
I'm like,
good.
yeah, yeah. So I did that, and you learn. And
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't have a lot of them. I have a lot of the promo stuff because I'm a lot of people know, like, I do love the promo cards the most.
Yeah.
I love a lot of those promos. So I do have a lot of that I never sold, but some of the other like cool stuff that I had. And then I just recently graded my Rocket Charizard that I pulled when I was a kid, and then
You
I
did
sold
grade it.
that off.
Okay.
Yeah, I did grade it, and it sold. It got an A. I thought it looks like a 9. I showed it to people. It looks like a 9, regardless, whatever. I sold it to another Charizard collector, Brandon Bougie. He goes by, but he's always in the restaurant too, and he's very into Pokemon. We talk all the time, and he's got quite a collection going on. And yeah, I sold it to him. He's got a picture with his mom with his first Charizard, and he liked the story. It's my Charizard, pulled it, and it was just cool. And I'm glad I kind of know where it's at, so it's neat.
Right. It feels a little bit
Yeah,
better than just throwing it into the wind and buying a house with it, right?
yeah,
A little
yeah.
bit better. A little
So
bit better.
yeah, yeah,
Well, give some love to the chat before I jump
yeah.
into that. Though I see the 5 gifted, Dan. I appreciate it, man. You didn't have to do that, but thank you, man. Really, really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Dan.
I see, God, good number of people here. We got iFomo in the house as always, dropping in some of the first one. He was cooking in the beginning. He was cooking
Yeah,
an hour before we
yeah.
started.
Yeah.
We got Ponga in here. Ponga couldn't stay. No worries, my friend. We'll catch you on the next
Mm.
one. Let's see. We got Giovanni's Pikachu. Hey, Rob in here as well. Red or blue. Good to see you, Rob. Thanks for
Red or
stopping by,
blue.
man. We got Quilly, Navi Station, Basic in the house. Good to see you, Basic. Brokemon Cards. Felipe is in the house as well. Good to see you,
Felipe.
Felipe. Good to see you, buddy. You got Dan, Catch 'em All. I can never make the live, but wanted to say hi. Look forward to listening back. No worries, man. No worries. I know you're on a different schedule these days, but we appreciate you, Dan. We got the Mexican hipster in here. Garen,
Hey.
Namp 90s in the house as well. And Alicia. Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody joining in.
Thank you.
Really do appreciate it. It's going to be a fun one. Hang tight. Hang tight. So we all know that you're the chef.
Yeah.
But you actually, I think you mentioned it. Shout out to Bierski. He's not here, but shout out Bierski as well. We already know what it is, though.
Yep. Shout out Beersky.
You mentioned in his podcast that your dad actually helped you get through culinary school.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your education and what that journey was like.
Uh, Culinary school was interesting. When I got to culinary school, I had already been cooking like 8-ish years.
Okay.
And then kind of like in my world, like college kind of off the table, all that stuff. So I forget how I came around, but my dad, it was just me and him, and he was like, "Hey, I'll help you like figure out paperwork and stuff." So we went down there, and then we got it done, and I was
Mm.
making payments, and he just helped me out with navigating that stuff. And then I worked full time, and I went to culinary school. I graduated with honors, crushed it, but
Congrats.
like culinary school, man. My school's unique because it got shut down for fraud, and then when I was there, I got in trouble for speaking out against the same thing that they got in trouble for
Mm.
legally. And it's that like legally the whole cases went through, and they did kind of go down. But great for me because I have zero student loans because of it. It like canceled out all of it because it got hit for fraud. But my degree is nothing no
Okay.
more. Like my degree goes away, but it doesn't really matter in my world, with what I do. Um,
Experiences there. Yeah.
yeah, so I would never, I'm not the type of person who would knock school or anything, but culinary school, no way.
Mm-mm.
No way. I don't recommend. I hate to like knock school, but I don't recommend it. Like if you want to do this world and you want to do any of that, you need to be hands on, you need to be in restaurants, you need to be working, you need to be finding out the places, learning the culinary school. What was messed up is I started with like 50 people or almost 60 people in my class, and then I graduated with like five of us. And out of the five of
Wow.
us, I think there's only like one. It's me and like another guy who still do stuff in the culinary world. But what they were doing was they were basically like selling you on this dream. They were saying, "Hey, if you go to school, you're going to come out, you're going to be an executive chef, you're going to make all this money and all this." But that is highly, highly inaccurate. That is
Hmm.
so far from the truth. It's not even funny. And then they would say that they would help place you in restaurants with these roles. But again, I'm coming from restaurants, and I'm like, man, what you're telling these people is very wrong. Like that is not how it goes, like at all. But then I would feel bad because like there was one dude who drove like an hour every day, and he had like this big oil business or something. He was in something like that, and he was making tons of money. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
You know? And then
Say, I'm gonna
another girl,
follow you.
she's leaving. Yeah, she's leaving her pharmaceutical job to go be a chef, and she's making like a
Hmm.
ton. Like she's wildly successful. She was doing her thing, and I'm like, what? Like you are making such a mistake. But that's what happens. These guys come out of culinary school and they're sold on this dream, but little they know, like nobody wants to hire you. When you do
Hmm.
finally get hired, it's going to be at the lowest wage
Lower.
possible because
Yeah.
you have zero experience. You're going to be a nightmare. You're going to be slow. You're going to be a project. There's all these negative things that come from somebody coming out of culinary school with zero experience. So it's tough. And then a lot of people, because that happens to them, they don't use their degree. So the ones who finish,
They
they have
step
all
out.
this time, yeah, and then they're like, oh wait, it's not fancy and slow, and it's not this life. Yeah, you're in psychotic world sometimes with like crazy chefs, and like it is a wild journey, restaurants.
Hmm.
So like some people get in and they're like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. I'm like, yeah, it's tough. It's real tough.
Was it the more? having no experience and trying to step into those higher positions that was the issue, or was it also because, for example, when I went to college, they were teaching in technologies that were outdated. It's like I'm already learning things in my job that's more advanced than this. So where was the bigger challenges in the school?
It's not realistic. Like you have 5 hours to make a side dish. So honestly,
Mm.
like I would go to school and then I'd be like, what are we making today? When we it would be broken up, like half your year is like book classes and half of it is cooking.
Mm.
So when I went to the cooking, I was like, this is like a joke, you know? So they'd be like, okay, you have 6 hours to make this from scratch. And I would literally walk up to the chef or the instructor and I'd be like, hey, what time do you want this done? And they'd be like, hey, put it up at this time. And I'd be like, okay, I'll see you later. And then I would just leave. And honestly, like I'd leave and hang out and go down and like get food or go to the bar or something. And then I would come back like 40 minutes before I'm supposed to plate it, or 30 minutes, and like stamp it together and be like, here you go, and get the A. So it was like silly to me. I was like, this is ridiculous. So, but then you would have like six people working on one thing, and it's like one
Wow.
dish. I'm like, are you kidding me? I got to pump 500 of these out in like 30 minutes. Like I do this all the time over here. It was funny. The book stuff I learned. The book stuff
Okay.
was really cool. So if there was anything I got out of culinary school, anything, like I met my wife there, so that's awesome.
I was wondering. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So
She's
other than
also
that,
a
yeah.
chef? Two chefs in the
She was
house?
she was she was a pastry chef. She was a pastry chef, and then
Nice.
I came in, I ruined that. So
Because you ate it all, or
no, like we had kids, and then just navigated it that way, and just everything felt it was easier for her to be the stay-at-home mom than trying to figure out daycares and like all that stuff. And then you know we had kids young,
yeah,
so you,
yeah,
you navigate that stuff, man.
yep. Fully understand. Fully
Yeah,
understand. Quilly had one for you here.
what do you got?
Um, did you get the grades and marks in culinary school? And if so, what'd you do as worst? And like, how did you kind of navigate which areas you did good or bad in? Sounds like they were all
Uh,
good.
yeah, I really didn't do bad. Maybe like it's funny that we're doing this, but maybe like public speaking. Like I hated going there and just like talking
Mm.
about something forever. But you know, I wasn't talking about Pokemon. I could talk about Pokemon all day.
That's a little
So
different. That's a little different.
yeah. So you're going and you're like having to do like these crazy conversations of talk. So I hated that part. But other than that, like I really, like I said, I graduated with honors, top of my class. I even won like a scholarship out of everybody in my class on this mystery basket thing we had to do at the end, and I did good in that.
Nice.
I don't know. Yeah, I always did
Yeah.
pretty well in the culinary world. It's funny because I think I said it with Biersky too. Like never never wanted to be a chef. Never had interest in being a chef. I just have always been good with kitchen, always. And I don't.
Hmm.
It just I don't know. It just is very normal, natural to me. I can taste stuff in my head, as crazy as that sounds, but I can see like the increments and see how much of what and kind of put it together in my head and then tweak it as I go. But for the most part, like I can really see and taste, like
Hmm.
figure out what it's going to be or where that balance is going to be and know how to tweak it before we even start. So it's cool. I
Sounds
mean,
like my wife. Yeah.
yeah.
Superpowers. She can taste things just by thinking it, and she'll be smacking her lips. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm thinking about what I want for dinner. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Rob says,
Uh,
my wife has 50K in debt. We're paying it off, but can't use it in the current job.
yeah,
And he
man.
was Rob was a college dropout with no degree, and worked my way up quickly and run through a sales team. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's to your point. I don't want to. School has its place, and education is something we all need to some degree. But yeah, navigating that, especially with the current school systems, you want to think through it carefully. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Think through it carefully, because I'm still paying off my debt as well. Yeah.
Hmm.
So let's switch it up, my friend. Let's switch it up. Tell
Do
me
it.
though, what kind of collector are you? Because you were a binder collector as a kid. I see a little
Hmm.
bit of sealed, a little bit of graded back there.
Yeah.
What kind of Pokemon collector are you? How would you describe yourself?
I think I'm evolving as a collector. Like I was just talking
Okay.
about this, all right? Because I was trying to find like, hey, what's my collection, identity? What's my collector identity? And I kept asking myself that. I started with binders Now, if I collect something, I just want the slab. And then now there's 3 vintage sets I want to complete, but after those are done, I think I only want to do just special higher end like promo cards. Like I love the exclusive Japanese promos. I love different, promo cards. I don't know. I really like the arts on promo cards. I really think I don't know. I really think they're neat. I think they're overlooked and all that stuff. So I don't know. So, but I want to jump into PSA 10s and
Okay.
hit promos. Yeah. So I think I'm a promo guy.
Yeah. iFomo says he's
Yeah,
a great
yeah,
collector. He just didn't know yet.
yeah. That's accurate because once I got the first couple slabs in and stuff, it's like tattoos, right? You get one, and you're like, all right, here it
This
goes.
looks pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
So are you doing the entire set collecting in PSA 10s as well? And that's probably what your Team Rocket, Gym Challenge, and Gym
No.
Heroes?
So yeah, so I don't think I want those in PSA. I like the binderness of it. I don't know
Okay.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense, but
Yeah. Fully
makes me
understand.
it's nostalgic to me. So I want those sets specifically binder. So I want Team Rocket, Gym Challenge, Gym Heroes. Those are my 3 favorite, hands down. I want that, and
Love
then
it.
everything else, I think I want to go slabs. I like the PSA 10s. I'm a PSA 10 guy, so I want to do
All right.
that. So yeah, I picked up a couple along the way and stuff. Yeah. Mhm.
Japanese promos. I knew the man was of good taste. That's right.
Rob knows. Rob knows what's up. Good job, Rob.
Rob's always rocking some beautiful cards too, man.
Yeah.
Jeez, beautiful cards. All right, so your transition, you're evolving. Did you give
Yeah.
it a name? You asked yourself the question, "What's my collection identity?" As PK calls it.
Yeah.
Did you define it?
No, I just think I'm gonna be a promo guy, so maybe the promo guy is gonna be it.
Okay.
So it's like lame as that is. And then a lot of people are like, promos, here you go. So,
I
but I
like
love them.
them. I mean, I was looking through before I changed my direction slightly as well,
Hmm.
and I was looking through my Pro Bone binders, from Sun and Moon XY, WotC, whatever the
Oh,
case is,
yeah.
and there was a lot of them I just didn't care for. I looked through them and there was like pages of promo. I was like, it's a promo. It's helping me collect the set, but I don't care for this card.
I think there's good
So
and there's bad promos. Like not
yeah,
every promo. There's just as many promos like I don't
yeah,
like, but there's so many that are very slept on. And then also if you're
yeah,
doing the flipping, like there's a lot of margins in those
yeah,
promos that are
yeah.
really good. And so it's like, hey, I talk to Biersky about that all the time because I'm always, and then I'll be on his page. I look at everybody's eBay pages, so I'll look at and I'll message Sam. I'll be like, "Yo, what's up with this promo?" Like, you gotta.
I'm gonna need to get that promo, but half price, half
Yeah,
price.
yeah,
Frame
yeah,
price.
yeah.
No, but I agree. And just speaking to even the margins there, for example, we got those team up blisters that we had, and they have the Pikachu,
Yes,
Mimikyu, and
and the
then has
Mimikyu.
the other one, yeah. And those graded really well. And you basically get the pack and the coin for free, and
Hmm.
yeah, it
I
works out
almost
pretty
bought a
well.
case. I almost bought a
Yeah.
case. It was either that or I was gonna do a big grading submission, which I did the grading
Hmm.
submission anyway, but it was out of that. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, but I was really close to buying a case of those to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I got mostly tens on mine. I mean, they looked really good. They were clean, no corner issues. But it's a risk. That one's definitely a big risk because you're paying in what $50 per pack, roughly 45
Yeah,
fifty
it's
dollars. Yeah,
550. Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
yeah. Good to see you, Zach. Got R&D Pokemoners in here as well.
What up?
If you guys don't know, give Zach a like, a subscribe, a sub. Same for Beerski. Show some love here in the
Beerski.
community. Feel free to drop any of the links, guys. Appreciate
Please
it.
drop Beerski's link. And then they
Yep.
did a box nostalgia today. That was awesome. So him and
Yeah, it was good.
Ponga,
It
man,
was
I love
good.
him and Ponga. I really do. They're
It's a good
awesome.
mix.
Ponga, like I was saying before, like before Ponga was going on, I would get like I always give Ponga a hard time, but I love that guy. So I'm always like hassling him and stuff like that, but it's all out of love and I love messing with him. So I'm like, we need more Ponga, and he would just send me the eyes, and then him and Beerski did the box nostalgia. So I love seeing Ponga right now. So Ponga, and then
Yeah.
Beerski's the homie, man. Beerski's my brother, bro. I love Beerski.
Brother from another
Beerski's my
mother.
guy. Yeah, love. Shout out to Beerski.
It's good stuff, man. I really enjoy the podcast
Yeah,
that Beerski's doing, but I also enjoy the Box podcast. That's nice as well.
yeah,
So,
Spirit
and it's
Clock,
got
and yeah,
some
the
nice
box.
touches to it, fulfilling some areas that we didn't have. So I'm definitely enjoying it. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I think it's
yeah.
pretty awesome. I'm very much enjoying it.
So you're one of the few of us that actually play the TCG. You can't do it, I know, as much as you want in the
No,
stores just due to your schedules, but you
yeah,
enjoy it. You're still building some decks. You're playing online a little bit.
yeah.
Um, do you have anybody that you're able to kind of bring over? Maybe your friend from earlier years, or perhaps somebody
No,
from the restaurant? No.
nah, nobody from here. No, and then
Mm,
the only other like card nerd I know, he's a Magic the Gathering guy. So him,
uh,
we're very opposite when it comes to that. Um, no, not really though. I keep talking. Shout out Professor Birch, and we were talking today about trying to get together to play at least the live. But he was asking me, and I haven't played in the last maybe a couple weeks because I was waiting on the
yeah, same
rotation
here.
and kind of seeing the mechanics. So I was like, I just kind of want to see how that goes. And I've been reading the cards and stuff, but I'm kind of excited to get involved with that. But no, my daughter, we're gonna get the box to like play at home because she's been wanting to
Okay.
play in
Oh
person.
yeah.
So
Cool.
me and my daughter, we're gonna do that and start playing and getting the decks. And then if I can, I'm gonna try and get to like these places. I just think like Pokemon is so opposite from my world. It's all like weekends and like and it's man, I work when everybody's having fun,
Yeah.
So, like, it is
I'll
what
say
it is.
you're servicing all of us as we come through, right? So I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
we appreciate you though, man.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
definitely
it.
need to get out some more though. I know it's gonna be tough, but
Yeah.
try to catch those. Maybe make a few exceptions, a few vacations, half days like this one. Try to make a
Yeah.
few of them. But I hope to see you, and I know that when we do our little get together, we'll have to definitely play. So
Oh,
bring your
for
decks.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, bring your decks. So what were you playing when you were on TCG Live last time you were playing a couple weeks ago?
I was playing man, what was I playing? I had a couple decks and it was a variation. What's one that's going on right now? The not the Lunatone. I was doing that for the Lunatone, and you
Yeah,
kind of stack them all up, and they just go bananas.
with Lost
And so
Zone deck.
yeah, yeah. So I was
Yeah,
doing that for a little while, but then I switched out of that. I can't even believe I don't even remember right now. Um,
Charizard
I
got really
can't remember.
popular.
Yeah. Well, I hated the Char. It wasn't Charizard. It wasn't. It wasn't Charizard. It wasn't It was a Psychic because I always run Psychic, but it was a variation. Like I always
Okay,
see the decks, and like I said it before, like I can't stand using the pre-made decks. Although I
right.
will use the pre-made decks for the mechanics to see all that, and then
Just to
I'll
see how
start
it
kind of
works.
tweak. Yeah, and then I'll like
Yeah,
tweak them to kind of what I like or how I want to play them, and then I go from there.
nice,
Man, I'm
nice.
cute. Now it's gonna
I know
drive me
you mentioned
crazy.
Goldingo as one of them.
Yeah.
Which
Oh, I was
I
I
don't know.
was doing a little bit
Yeah,
of that. That was probably the most recent one actually because I saw that you got it's like one energy or something or I think and he's like rocking. It's
yeah. He
crazy,
hits he
right?
hits
It's
hard.
like yeah,
And Roy and Moon was another big one here recently. So Roy and Moon was
yes,
hitting pretty hard.
yeah,
Combine that
yeah,
with some Darkrai, and yeah, it
yeah,
was looking heavy.
yeah. The
Good to
Goldango
see you,
though
Josh.
is nuts.
Happy Thursday, bud.
Josh.
Happy Thursday. Yeah, and I think the Green Shiz. He used to love playing some cards, so I think he nerded out quite a lot in his earlier years. So we have to get him back in. We got to get some more people playing the actual
Oh, that's
game.
awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if he played as much Pokemon, but he definitely was into some of the other card games for sure. All right, so you're gonna get in. Your daughter's gonna play. How old is she now?
She's 10 and my son's
Okay,
12.
okay,
So she's
all right,
10, he's 12,
yeah,
but he doesn't care about the cards like that. But
okay,
I left my screen open one time and it was just breaking down margins and
uh
math and
huh,
he's a mathlete for sure.
okay.
And he's really smart. I always say like you're me at my full potential. You're me with like stuff like guidance and all like you're me and you have all these resources. So he saw the screen open and he's sixth grade and he does like ninth and 10th grade math and he crushes it.
That's
But
awesome.
he like put it together. He's like, wait, so you could take this card and grade it, and if it hits a 10, it's this, and then you could sell it for this. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it works, man.
Pretty much
So
how it
then he
works. Yeah.
goes and he's real good with like birthday money and whatever. So he brings down like $100 from birthday or Christmas, and he's like, I want to buy the Roaring Moon and make it this, you know. And I was like, yeah, but at the time, Roaring Moon PSA 10 was going for like 300. So it was like right when it
Oh
came
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Bad time. Yeah.
he was never into the Pokemon like that until he saw that, and then he's smart, so he's like, man, I could take my birthday money and turn it into more birthday money, you know. So that's like where he was at with that, and then now he sees like the submissions, and now he actually listed my last three cards. I
Did
was
he?
like, just put it. Yeah, he did. So I put it. I like showed him one time, and he's like, will you pay me for that? And I was like, yeah, bro. I will. I will actually, because I hate
As a
if there's
matter of
anything I hate doing is listing. So I was like, absolutely. So when all this submission comes back, he asks me almost every day. He's like, "Are they back yet? They, when can I list? When can I list?" Because I told him I'm not paying, but I'm like, "Have at it, man." So if he wants to
That's
list them,
awesome.
no problem. I told him when he first did it, I was like, "Hey, if you're gonna try, just don't post anything. Save it into a draft,
Let
and
me
then
see
I'll
it.
just
Yeah.
look at it, And then I was at a grocery
That's
store
the
or
approval
something, and it
process.
was like, yeah, and it like popped up, and I was like, no way. And then they were like, perfect, and I was like, this little guy figured it out, and he like crushed it.
I
He had
love
like the
it.
category. Like I told him one time, and he's just like, beep, beep,
That's
beep, beep,
good.
beep. Yeah. He's
It got
also
sold before you got home.
yeah, for sure. He's my go-to IT guy also.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah,
So your daughter's gonna play. Your son's gonna
yeah,
hustle. That's clear. That's clear.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Did he
it.
did he buy something with the money though? Did you guide him through his first purchase?
No, not yet, because the
Okay.
times that I've gone to the shop, there wasn't anything that I was like, hey, for sure. Like I wanted him to have the good for sure, like his first time doing it. Like I wanted to
Right.
be a good one. I don't want him to come up short. So I was very particular, at least the couple times that we went, that I was like, hey, not this one because of this, not this one because of this, not the. So
Yeah, you want him to have a
yeah,
good experience, especially in that first one. To kind of
yeah.
get him in there. Let him have some fun. Don't hate the Zard too much. Yeah, I must say,
I
especially
hate
if you
the
play
Zard.
TCG. Come on, guys. The
I
Zard
don't. I
hasn't
hate the
had a good
Zard
deck
deck, man.
in
Oh, I
forever.
hate it.
When was the last time Charizard actually had a good deck?
That's true.
Exactly. So give
Same thing
him
with
at least a little bit of love. A little bit of
what's
love.
the other one that's annoying? Is it the Miraidon?
I played the Miraidon
There's
deck.
an electric deck that it's like
Yeah.
zips out 100 million electric energies. And you're like, what in the world? Like when
Yeah.
you're on your turn, and then this guy's like 20 draws deep in his first turn, and you're like, what is happening right now?
Yeah. It's the Miraidon because it lets you bring out some bench Pokemon, two bench Pokemon, and then of course you have the electric generators, which then lets you just pull energies out of the
Yeah,
deck.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's what it
man,
is. Yeah.
that's what steered me into like doing Lunatone deck. I was like, well, if everybody's gonna do this craziness, I'm just gonna like try to like do that. And then that's what I was doing, but
Okay.
it was like whatever.
And if anybody doesn't follow, shout out to Justin Basil. He was on the
Yeah,
podcast. Guy kills it with TCG content,
he
best
does.
decks. Does a lot of the meta stuff, but also a lot of the pre-meta. He's really trying to figure out what's going to be next. So really good content with him and John at Poke Beach. So check that one out. Good stuff. Alex, are most Pokemon flippers into Pokemon as an entertainment property as well, or are most only interested in the business side of things? Well, I think you can kind of hear a little bit of that here, and I'll let Chef give his perspective. But it's a wide range. Now, obviously,
Hmm.
a lot of the circle that we talk to and hang out with, they do some perspective of business, but they also very much enjoy it. Here, as you can see, we're talking about playing TCG. We're
Hmm.
collectors as well. We have our own personal collections. But usually, the way that works, at least in the beginning, is you got to fund the collecting somehow. So you start to sell a few things, and that kind of grows a
Hmm.
little bit, and you're somewhere in the middle, and then you turn into Nick Old School Pokemon or Dan, and you lose everything. It's all inventory. So it's just a swing of different perspectives. But I think most people are in it not just for the business. Most people actually enjoy it. What do you think, Chef?
Yeah. I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's a larger population of people who enjoy
Yeah.
the
Huge.
aspect who enjoy
Yeah.
the TCG, who still collect, and then you have the
Hmm.
people who are soulless like Dan and sell off everything. Like, no, I'm just joking. But I do like the business side. Like when I started coming on content on YouTube, like you have your poker reps, you have all that stuff. But then I was always more interested in like what Dan is talking about, what Nick's talking about, what's Pokeflip's talking about, what like
Yeah.
I got more into all that and like PK and like all that stuff. So for me, I'm very interested in the business side of it, but at the same time, like obviously, like I collect stuff, it's still very much a hobby, and I like to keep it in that space. I don't think I want to turn it into a business unless it's like what like something like crazy, like something big on like Dan, Nick, Weedle, you guys like all that level maybe, but I don't know if I'll push it. But I also have a kind of a mindset like I listen to Retro a lot too. I love Retro's like his business talks lately and stuff like that. He's on fire. He's doing a great
Yeah. He's
job.
doing good. Yeah.
But like Retro, his mindset, he was saying like, dude, I want to take this as far as I can go. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like I want to go as far as I can, but I'm not going to sacrifice my job right now unless it could do more for me than what my job does. But I don't know
Right.
if it can. Maybe, but until now, I like to keep it like right in this little middle ground.
A little sweet
Um,
spot. And
yeah.
I think you brought up a really good point. When we speak about percentages, and just kind of
Mhm.
maybe finish up on this, Alex. Um, Definitely, the majority of the people are in the hobby are just having a great time. It's the kids, it's the parents buying with the
Yeah.
kids, playing much like we were just talking about with your kids on a little TCG game, ripping packs, the games. The majority of the hobby is all of that. This business perspective is definitely, in my point of view, a minority.
Mm,
And I think definitely there's far more people that just do it for fun, do it because they enjoy it, because they love it. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Ernie, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Gifting five. Really, thank you, Ernie. Much love, man. Much love. You guys are awesome. I love the support. So, when we think about this as well, you talked about it actually here when we say that we want to keep this somewhat enjoyable in the hobby. But you also just recently
Mhm.
transitioned to selling because you weren't selling too much prior to this. So, what was that
Mhm.
reason for change, and how are you trying to navigate the balance?
Like I said, I got more into the business side, and then like you said, funding the collecting, and kind of moving up. And at some point, I think I want to downsize the collection into some high value cards and kind of like build like
Mm,
that. But I got really into the business stuff, and then once I started selling, and then once I started understanding the grading part and kind of just listening, ears open. I'm a sponge. When I want to learn something, I'm deep down rabbit hole, and I'm just listening. Um, so that, I guess it just kind of transformed into that, and then just doing it. There's always like this talk of like, oh, these guys, these YouTubers gatekeeping and all that stuff, but like I'm very big on like be hands on. Like be hands on. You're not
right.
gonna milk everybody for all this stuff. Like there's only so much they could tell you. There's only so much people can do. You know what I mean? So you got to be hands on. So then that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just hearing and applying what I'm learning and learning as I go. But I feel like that's how you do it. That's kind of the process. You gotta do it. You gotta be hands on. And then I will say I learned more from myself doing it than
Right.
listening to YouTubes and stuff like that. There's only so much information there, but at a certain point, you're on your own and you got to figure out problems. But there's like things that I've ran into that there's not a YouTube out there that prepared me for that. So
Right.
I real big on the hands-on stuff and like
It's a,
navigating as you go.
it's a great
Yeah.
correlation back to the previous topic on culinary school and being a chef, right? So just get in there in the kitchen, start cooking,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah, exactly. Gotta be hands-on, man.
yeah, it's always a good start. You build the knowledge, and people like Dan who's willing to share, and they just give so
Yeah,
much out for free. Definitely can save you a lot of pain. Rusty is another one, but yeah, there's going to be things you have to learn on the go for sure.
you have to.
But you didn't really. give me the answers. How are you gonna enforce the fact that you keep the fun in the hobby and not slip the slope down the cellar slide, if you will?
I think by nabbing like these promo cards that I like, I think that's gonna keep the fun in the hobby for me. Because when I get
Okay.
one, I'm like, oh, bro, I'll keep it in my pocket for the whole week. I take it to work. I show everybody. I get to work. I'm like, it's man there. Look at the slab I got. Nobody cares. I'm the only Pokemon
Yeah.
nerd, you know.
Look,
But
look,
they'll
look,
some
look.
yeah, some people entertain it. You know, I'm the chef, so they'll be like, oh, all right, you know, this
Yeah,
guy's
good for
telling me about
you.
this. I gotta listen. Yeah, they're like, I have to set up my station, chef. You know. So,
Yeah.
but I think that stuff, like being able to obtain those things that like something you wanted for a long time, like that keeps me like good in the hobby and not wanting to like sell everything. And again, I don't like I will check myself because there was a time where I was like, hey, I'm gonna sell everything, like whatever I had with the Team Rocket
Mhm.
first edition, you know, master set that I got going on, and like all the crown. I got a Crown Zenith Master set and like some sealed stuff and things like that. And I was like, man, I'm just gonna sell everything or rip everything open and grade everything and do them. But I don't make very like quick decisions. I do very calculated, and I like think, and then I like to like not just jump to something. I want to like just be level headed, come down. Let me like really think this through and everything. Um, so I check myself often, and I'm like, hey, you're not full time. You know, like have fun. You know,
Yeah. Slow down,
and,
slow down.
keep it, yeah, keep it that way. You know. So,
That's
but
when
I
you
do. I
reach
try to
behind you
enforce.
and grab
Yeah.
a pack.
Yep. That's it. That's it. I love it. Packs are fun. I mean, like I know packs is like a money thing, and I just packs are fun. Packs are fun. So they're bittersweet, I guess, because you know when you're opening a bunch of packs, if you spend money on a bunch of packs and you're just ripping through them, it's not enjoyable because you're not gonna make your money back. But if you do it for like, hey, I just with the kids, or hey, it's Pokemon Day, let's rip some pack. You know, like that kind of stuff is fun.
Exactly.
But if you're trying to make money, do it like you're gonna be just sad with a bunch
Yeah.
of pack wrappers every day.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
you finish and you look around and you think, what have I done?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
$500.
Yeah, really. You made 12 bucks. Yeah,
Exactly. And that's exactly why we've instilled the Pokemon Fridays for me and the family with the kids,
I
and
love
if they
that.
do a good week, and um, it's just for fun. Like, yeah, we might pull some cool cards. Maybe, to be fair, to be 100% transparent, when we do anything on the Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs, I say, okay, guys, look, you can have everything else, but give me the stamp promo. That's gonna help pay for this.
Yeah.
The rest of it is yours.
Yeah.
So that's the only caveat to this story. But other than that, no, it's just the enjoyment. We don't expect anything out of it. When I'm not trying to earn my money back, but it's just fun, and the
Yeah.
kids love it. We love it. Yeah, get to share, trade. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, did you prepare yourself? I know you did what, like a 40 or 50 card submission to PSA
Hmm.
recently. I saw that on Instagram. Looked
Hmm.
spicy, a nice little mix of things. Um,
Hmm.
are you getting ready for a Collecticon, or did I hear you say you were going to try to vend one?
I I think I want to try. Like I keep
Okay.
looking. Like I love the like the recaps. I love watching all those videos. I'm
Yeah.
really hooked on that. And then shout out to Dan. Dan has the best recap videos. I think I messaged. I told him he's peak Pokemon with his Dan recaps and his PowerPoints. It's like it's all my speed. So
I love
I
it.
love
Yeah.
it. But seeing like man, I think I want to. And talking to Beerski, and I don't know. I'm always worried about do I have enough inventory and things like that. But I think I could flow today, though. I'll probably sell. I mean, everybody gets bought out. It seems like everything goes really well at Collecticon, so I would assume that I would do really well. Maybe I'm naive to that. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I think. I mean, I don't know. I am interested in it. I think I'm doing four this year, and I think by second, third, or something, I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna try and squeeze a table somewhere, or like see if somebody if I could buy a corner or something, of their
Yeah.
table, and kind of go from there. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Peak has plenty of inventory if you're looking for it. So yeah,
Mm-mm.
hit him up if you just want to get some stuff for to kind of fill in some gaps. But yeah, I've asked, just talking to my wife 2 or 3 days ago. no, about a week ago, and we were talking about Collecticon, just kind of getting ready for a couple of those we want to kind of maybe look at. And she said, well, "Are you gonna vend?" I said, "I want to do it this year, but I'm
Hmm.
not in a rush. Like I'm
Yeah, that's
not
yeah,
dying to do it,
right.
but I definitely want to do it. I'm doing plenty of selling elsewhere, and that's keeping me more than busy.
Hmm.
But I'll probably wait because I have a couple of ideas in mind of how I want to enter the Collecticon scene, if you will,
Hmm.
and I want to do it right the first time. So I'm probably gonna hold off, and I'll hit mine in 2025 in terms of vending.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'll have some pretty interesting ways
I
of
think
displaying. Yeah,
I think the same for me. I think no later than like 2025 year, I might be all in, at
yeah,
that point
yeah,
doing it. This one I'm kind of like there's a lot going on at a lot of different collecticons, so I'm a
yeah.
lot of them I'm just kind of going and having fun and kind of seeing where that goes. And I don't know, so if there's time, maybe if not, then I'm just gonna have fun. I'm gonna try and source everything, source a bunch of stuff there and bring it back. Um, so we'll
Yeah.
see.
Good place
Hopefully.
for all. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but your eBay's picking up. So you've also been really pushing on that a little bit. Doing good so
Mhm.
far. Doing good. So
Yeah.
when did you start to really make that a priority for you?
When I started, I guess getting into the grading, then I was like, okay, I want to make this, and then I
Okay.
want to make my eBay page look good, and then I want to do all this because again, I was selling like some singles here and there, or like kind of like when I wanted to or needed money for something, and I was kind of doing that, but it wasn't until like I was doing the graded and just wanted to get it nice. And I'm looking at everybody else's eBay page. I'm like, what the heck? I got to get mine together. And I'm a very thorough guy. So I like to cross T's, dot I's. And if I do something, I want to do it right. Maybe it's chefing me
Yeah.
or whatnot. But so
Yeah.
I like my eBay page was just very sad. So I was like, I gotta like make doll it up and then I didn't know how to navigate that and figure it. So then I had to learn all that and kind of do it again, hands on, hands on. You're doing it. And then I step by step you get it done. Right now,
Yeah.
what I want to focus on is just getting more inventory and then a steady flow of inventory. And then every grade submission that I've done, I feel like I've made notes to kind of tweak it a little bit different or a little bit better, and hopefully keep the gradings or grades going good. But like the next submission, I think I want to focus on better or like more popular cards, like
Hmm.
multiple of like one copy of like a chase card or something like that. Because the
Okay.
one I have, the one that you've seen on Instagram, the most recent one, like there's some good stuff, but it's very like mixed. It's very like there's
Yeah.
even some Larcana in there, but it's not like it's not like 100 of like whatever we got Roaring Moons or whatever in Paradox River, like the shinies or anything. It's not like one of that, or
Right.
it's not like the very very popular. It's kind of like ups and downs, and there's this. Basically, I was trying to focus more on tens versus character. So this time I want to
Hmm.
focus on character and tent, and try to go for it like that. And then my second submission, I was testing the waters on like how much I could push the envelope and go from there and see like where's their grading scale at, like where's my
Right.
wiggle room, and kind of planted some of those in there to see what would happen. And I saw what happens, and then I got that. Some of them
Yeah.
I was like, I'm like shocked about this, shocked about that, but it helped me feel it out. So this is a little bit some of that too. I'm feeling some of it out, but for the most part, this most recent submission is probably the most effort I've put in.
Hmm.
Like, okay, I want all these cards to hit, and then again, I have spreadsheets of everything. And I talked to Quilly too. Quilly has like a nice spreadsheet on stuff. Um, so kind of matching that stuff to kind of guide and steps and take notes and kind of again just get better each submission each time and go up and up and up and scaling, going
Are
from
you
there.
focusing on certain dollar amount ranges when you think through this in both
I,
raw form and PSA potential PSA 10 form?
yeah, so I like obviously, I mean, I look for margins, bigger margins, and then I try to look for stuff that not many people are looking at, which for me, a lot of the times, like, man, again, promos, everybody's sleeping on these promo cards that, they're great. They're beautiful arts, and then they skyrocket when they hit a 10, but they're also kind of harder to hit a 10 because how they're
Right.
packaged a lot,
Yeah.
but I do
Exactly.
look at some of those, and then there's a lot of stuff. Like I was like I feel like now the celebration stuff is very common knowledge, where these PSA 10s and celebration cards are going crazy. But I was looking at that a while, and I'm like, look, is anybody seeing what the heck is going on in these celebration cards? Like, this is crazy. Um, but yeah, I look at those
Okay.
margins and try to see what's larger, and then I'm trying to focus on those top chase cards and getting multiple copies of that, and then building the relationship with my LGSs. There's
Mm.
two in the area now that I'm starting to get on a good relationship basis, and they're awesome. So shout out to them. That's Hidden Block Games in the area, and then Triangle Area Trading Cards. They're both awesome people, awesome teams. But I am getting to know them, and they kind of know when I come in now. They're like, okay, he's looking for the minty. So
Right.
so
Right.
yeah. So
Got
now,
a
but
box
yeah,
here for you, Chef. Yeah.
yeah,
Take a look at
yeah,
these.
yeah. That's cool.
We got one from Ernie. He says he did his first event a few weeks ago. Such amazing experience. Sold a lot. Met a lot of good people. Highly recommended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
I'm
Biersky.
looking forward to
Biersky
it.
says like Charlotte was his first time. Maybe I don't want to mistake or misspeak, but I think he was saying like
Something
Charlotte
like
when he
that.
was
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was like his first time venting, and like
Yeah.
had a
Killed
blast,
it.
blown up, like yeah, crushed it,
Yeah.
man, and like
Yeah.
man, it's awesome.
Pulling the day, and I hate that we quote him like it's the Bible or something. But
I
good cards.
know. Yeah,
Price
price
right.
low, yeah. But he's not
What
wrong. Like Dan,
he's
Dan, we always say, "Oh, Mr. Know It All," Dan, but like Dan kind of knows it all. Dan is that
yeah.
guy. He's like Mayweather. He talks it, but he can back it up.
That's right. That's right. And to your point though, he's been doing it hands on for a
Yeah,
long time. Same thing with Nick and Rusty and like these guys.
yeah,
They know through experience and pain and pain.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love the Bible. Yeah, I love that as well. I'm not sure if that was a reference back to Dan, but yeah, the real one
Yeah,
as well. The real one
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Just so
yeah.
we're clear.
That's
All
funny.
right, man. So looking at least 2025, we're going to get into some Collecticons. We're going to try to ride
Yeah,
that wave a little bit. In the
yeah.
meantime, building up inventory, kind of working through the grading, learning, building up your
Hmm.
eBay along the way. Are you going to
Hmm.
sell anywhere else? So you talked about local LGSs. Are you going to pull a Java and rent out a case there? And do they support graded cards in their stores?
They do. They both
Okay.
have them in their stores. I don't know if I'll do anything in their stores because I don't know. I don't think they're set up or they would let me do something like that, or if they would even need me to do something like that. But I do
Okay.
have there's a place, there's an old car shop that's been around for like 30 years, and then I live in a small town in North Carolina, um, in Roseville, and there's a car shop connected to a gas station, and it's very country, very
Hmm.
old, but it has a huge following. Now the following primarily is Magic the Gathering, and they hold tournaments there every
Okay.
Friday night.
Huh.
Um, but he would be the one that I would ask to be set up like Java, and I do think it would go well because he does have a good amount of Pokemon and Pokemon people that go in there,
Okay.
but nobody's playing the game. But I feel like if I went in there, I could also change that presence and
Yeah.
make something like what he has going on with Magic into that. But I don't know how much time. I'm a chef again, chef world and life have, so I don't know how
Yeah.
much I could do that, but I would love to be set up something like Java, or I would love to, like, we just had two local events run the same weekend. And I think Java was at one, and I wanted to go see him and check him out, but I just, I can't, I wasn't able to.
No time.
And I missed both days. It was a Saturday and a
Mm,
Sunday, and I had to do both
yeah.
that weekend. So but
Makes
man,
sense.
shout out Java. Java's got a nice setup. He's super humble, but
He's
Java
doing a great
crushes it,
job.
dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
Java
He's
crushes
doing a
it.
great job.
I'll talk to him. Java's great, man. Java's great. Yeah,
And I really like his content. And that last game
yeah.
show that he did,
The
oh man,
trivia
I
was so
loved it.
much
I love
fun.
it.
Trivia was that was like the most fun I've had on like a live since like maybe like the first day
Jeopardy
I
with
saw
Oak.
like yeah, Jeopardy. Well, I was gonna say the
Yeah.
first day I saw Nick on eBay Live, I was like, wow, this
Oh.
is the most fun. Right? Nick was when I turned that on and I saw him just going at it,
Yeah.
dude. That was Nick
He's a
was living his
showsman,
best
man.
life. Yeah, I
He's
loved
a
it.
show.
I think
He
I watched
loves
the
it.
whole thing, ear to ear, cheesing. But yeah, the trivia thing was so much fun, man.
It
And
was
the
good.
chat
It
was
was good.
hilarious, and it was just a good time. Good time for the
It
hobby.
was.
Love it. So shout out Java.
I
Nice
was a little
and
worried
cheers.
though. He was going through the rules. I was like, uh oh.
Yeah, I know, I know. I was like, I don't
Let's
even know. I don't know. Let's just play
just get
because
started. Let's just get started.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like any board games. Like somebody's reading the
Yeah.
rules at the house, and you're just like,
We're
ah,
saying,
just play.
yeah, it's roll the dice. Roll the dice. We're good.
Yeah,
We're good.
yeah,
But yeah, shout out to Java for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Lots of love. Lots of love.
Yeah,
Um, so you kind of spoke about it quite well, and I think there's an interesting outcome that has transpired, and this puts us perfectly into kind of your content creation. So you just recently, and I know you and I shared this conversation, a while back. You just recently started to get into social media and to really kind of
yes,
create a presence. That
yes.
started when specifically for you?
That started not long ago, man. So that
Yeah.
started in Charlotte Collecticon,
Okay. Last
and
year. Okay.
yeah, so last year, and it was when I was like meeting everybody, and I'm, very humble, very just kind of introvert and in and out, So like when I was meeting everybody, hey, hi, take a picture, kind of doing all that and kind of like, hey, just they, I like your stuff, I watch it, you're smart, I get it, just showing love. But it wasn't until knowing, like talking to these guys that, an hour later, I'm sitting with Charlie Erlacher, Dan, and Zach Jim at Pokemon. They're like, make an Instagram. What are you doing? They're like, well, fuck And I'm like, oh, I don't even know,
Yeah.
So
How
I
you
was
do
like,
this? Yeah.
yes. But so they're like, do you have like an Instagram? Can I follow you? I was like, no, I have like my phone number, but that's like weird, like I, like if you want that, I guess, but
You
it's
can write
like,
me love letters. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, all right. So they're the ones that are like, yeah, do it. Like what got me is it was I think it was Zach, Jim and Pokemon. He was the one who was like, hey, it really makes the hobby like more fun. And then
Yeah.
that's what like got me. And then we're all old, and we always talk about like the loser thing, where it's so like hard to make friends when you're old and like doing life and all that stuff. So like to where I am, and then nobody around. Like I've never been in a world where other people like Pokemon, except for like the one friend I had when we were kids. But nobody in my world. I don't come from that world. Nobody in my world
Yeah.
likes Pokemon
Same
like
here.
that. So it's like to be in a room with all these people, and we all have like the same passion for Pokemon and know like a lot very details about it, and can like just speak at the same speed, speak the same language, and kind of go.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome, but like they were the ones who really like it pushed me on the edge, because I don't like social media. I'm very against it. I
Yeah.
hate it, But I will say that I have had a very awesome time connected with everybody in the hobby and doing social media stuff and kind of showing, my perspective of things and kind of trying to interact food with it as much as I can. I wish I could do some more cool things or like really show some cool platings or anything. A lot of times when I play food or something, like I'm busy, so it's like a quick
Right.
shot or so,
Yeah.
like something like that. There's
Just
nothing.
two pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, so it hasn't been too long. But yeah, that's like how I got into the social media stuff. And it was funny. It was like my first couple followers. I think it was like all these guys. Everybody's
That's
watching them.
awesome.
It's like Dan, PK, Charlie, Zach. you know, um, following me.
What a
So it
great
was
way to
just
kick it
funny.
off.
Yeah, yeah,
Great way to kick it off.
yeah.
Um, how have you navigated that? Because I still find myself having to rebalance things from time to time, and the dings, the buzzes, the maybe desire to post. What's been the change in life for you around that, and how do you or have you managed it well?
Um, well, I kind of looked at it also as scaling business. So when I
Exactly.
first
Yep.
got it, that's also when I first did like Collecticon, same thing Beersky said. Like Collecticon, that Charlotte Collecticon changed like the trajectory of like everything I had going on. And I did not go there expecting that. I did not go there like thinking that, or like it just
You just say, hey, I want to
organically
go meet some
happened. It
cool
just,
people. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like it just happened. And um I just took advantage of like those scenarios, or like how I felt, and like, man, this is like, I'm really motivated to do all this right now. So when I first got the Instagram, when I first made it, I said for the first like 30 days, I think I'm going to try and post every day and
Hmm.
like build something. So I did that, and I hated doing that because it was like every day you're like, oh, I gotta post, I gotta, and then I'm like, well, this is like the stuff I don't like, because then you're wondering like how many likes, you're like checking it and likes, and you want people to like it, and why aren't people looking at it, and then you're like, it makes you feel like funny, it makes you feel like sometimes you fail if you're not getting a certain number that you're looking for. So like the psychological part of the social media, like I can very understand why like young kids are like
Yeah.
whoever go through these things. So, but anyway, like I went 30 days and did that, and I was like, oh, I can't wait for that to be done. And then I finished that, and then I try to find the balance, and then I try to find like I can't stand, like I didn't want to spend all this time making it real. I didn't want to spend all this time doing that. And again, I don't care about the social media, and I'm very introvert naturally, so I don't care if people know, like really, if you know least about me, that'd be ideal. If I was invisible, that'd be perfect, like
Well,
that'd be
you might
great.
you might want to exit the podcast quickly.
Yeah,
Exit.
yeah, right, yeah. So it, I like try to find like what I like, and what's easiest, I guess, what's best for me, and that I can work is like doing the quick stuff in the stories. And I've heard like I think it was like Swowpoke, or maybe it was Radar, somebody saying something like that. Like they like the stories, like they like just kind of hitting the stories as quick, and that's what like got me on it. And then like I like just, hey, throw a picture out, go, and I'm done with it, and kind of moving on. But I don't like that I was like looking and checking and looking and trying to post and come up with
Mm,
a new thing and do this and do that. And like I didn't want to do any of that. And then I try to just make sure it's a mix of like food and Pokemon, because where I'm extremely passionate about Pokemon, everybody in Pokemon is extremely passionate about food. So I try to play both. I try to show them my world as much as I can. I wish if I had somebody filming for me all the time, oh man, we can have a lot of fun. But it's
right.
hard to kind of do my thing and try to look, and then like lighting's crazy in the kitchens and like all that other stuff. So I don't know.
You put on
Yeah.
pull a deep pocket monster and just put on like a chest cam. Walk
Yeah,
around.
that'd be a man. Let me tell you, if you want a good like cooking show, you need to have everybody with like a
Yeah,
GoPro or something like that. You'd have one Saturday night, and it'd be wild.
that'd be it.
Yeah,
Well, and this is, I'm glad you said it like that because it's definitely to the point of teenagers. If they don't have a strong rooted foundation in something meaningful in their
yeah,
life, family, friends, hobbies, and all they have is social media and they get into that cycle, it's so dangerous, man. So
it's
dangerous.
brutal. It's
Yeah.
brutal, and then
Yeah.
people roast things.
Yeah.
Like it's
Get a
it can
walrus in
be
there and
like,
you're in trouble.
yeah, yeah. Like it's crazy to me. Like the little bit that I'm on and navigate, I'm like, man, I can really see how this affects people
Yeah.
in a negative way. I do feel like everybody, you kind of control your own world or bubble a little bit. So I
A
keep
little bit.
mine, yeah,
Yeah.
I keep mine for the most part, in check, and everything's fun on my side. And then I don't take it very seriously, and I do want to build Instagram. Again, I'm trying to scale all aspects of the business kind of like that, and through eBay, and even YouTube might be in the future
I was going to
soon.
ask you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think I'm getting a lot of encouragement to do YouTube, and I might start doing that. But I'll tell you, the one thing I'm most passionate about, that I would mostly interested in doing, is what Nick does, the eBay lives, Nick and Weedle. Dude, I
Mm.
love doing the eBay lives, and I feel like I could crush doing the eBay lives and be fun on there and do all sorts of stuff. Like I would love to do that form, and then pop over like a video here and there, like kind of like what Nick is doing right now, where he's like throwing a video here and there, kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like I love his content right now, and I love that he's back on YouTube and then doing his eBay lives. Like I love his model, like kind of what he's got going on. I love that. And then he's mixing in the Instagram now, and him and Weedo are trying to do that. Ideally, I would love to do that, but the YouTube I want to do too, but I also don't want to do something that everybody else is doing, obviously, right? So that's where I'm
Right.
stuck. Like I feel like I cannot bring anything to the table right now that somebody else is not doing that I could do by myself. Like we could do something in the kitchens, we could do all sorts of stuff, but I need things set up. I need things filmed. I need somebody to film me. I need like just all,
Right.
all these things. And then I don't know. I don't know, but YouTube might be there, or if I can find out how to get in those eBay lives after the beta, I might really do that. And then I've been approached for a couple things, and I've been approached for, like the whatnot stuff and all that stuff. But I don't know. Again, when I do something, I like to do it really right, and I want to wait for something that really feels right. And I just kind of got my eye on that eBay live thing somewhere down the road, and I think I want to make that like a permanent goal and kind of move towards that and navigate that somehow. Yeah.
Eh, and I've thought about some of the same things, and one thing that I can't get out of my head is especially if your livelihood depends on the eBay live model. If you are not live, you're not making money,
Yeah.
and the dependency on you doing that so consistently. I think Nick and I talked about it a little bit. He's gonna have to slow down this year. Like he can't keep
Hmm.
going at the pace that he was going at. What was it, every day or every other day, something like that? Or it was like 3 or 4
Yeah.
days a week. It was too much, and then after that, you got to ship all the orders, and like it's constant. So he was basically doing that all
Yeah.
night, shipping all morning, and going to sleep, and repeat, repeat, repeat.
Yeah. He was
So
doing, like he said, he was doing 6 days, 6 days
was
a
it
week.
6?
And
Okay.
yeah. And then he was taking the one Sundays off. And then like it was during the day, he's packing and shipping. And then at night, he's
Yeah.
hitting lives. And then those lives, like once you get to pack rips, you're there like, who
Yep.
knows, man? You're there to like 4 in the morning, sometimes 5 in the morning. Like I've seen Guido go. I've fallen asleep on my
Yeah.
phone, like watching it, and I wake up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how late this guy went ripping packs. Yeah, but
It can
it's
go. Yeah.
wild. It can go, but I'm very glad because that's a lot, man. I mean, that's the same thing. Like if I do chef 6 days a week, you get burnt out so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah.
he did it for I think the whole year. I think he did it um
Mm.
like that. So it was brutal. But I am happy he kind of scaled back. But then like he's doing the doubles on Wednesday. Uh
Mm.
he's seeing that. But I do think that's cool too because there's not many people during the day doing that. There's like one other guy
Right.
or something on eBay, but he's like, I don't know about that guy, you know, like, I don't know. But
Lido's the way to go. Yeah.
we don't Nick, and they're awesome. And
Yeah.
I think Part-Time Collector, it's like a family that does it. They're super nice too, but they do a little bit of a mix of everything. But like Weedle and Nick, I mean, they
Killing
crush it.
it.
And they're very different. They're very different streams. They're very different, like product lineup, I guess, and pack
Mm.
rips and things like that. So it is two very different um vibes and products that you see in there, cards and stuff. So
Mm.
it's really cool. It's really cool.
Okay. I'll have to check out some more Weedles. I hadn't had time to do it, but I've been meaning to do it and
Yeah,
stop by.
Weedle's
So I'll have to,
awesome.
have to check one out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see one here from Ernie as well. Speaking to what we were talking about, he tried to post every day for a year. He had to stop, right? So he just started doing it when he wants to, and it feels much better.
Yeah, for sure it
Yeah.
does, man. That pressure to try, like when I was doing that in 30 days, it was sucked. It was like, man, I got to sit there and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, what am I, like, especially when you're like, I don't even care about this, like, I don't even want to do this.
That's when you got to
So,
stop. Yeah.
yeah,
I
but I,
don't
I
I
gave
don't blame
myself, hey, I'm gonna do it for 30 days, see how I like it. Like maybe I do like it, but I for sure didn't.
him.
I
Yeah.
did the 30 days, I stuck to that, and I kind of went from there and navigating that. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I've been trying to post something a little bit every day on 3, 4 platforms, and that's a lot. Um, but some of it's reused. So YouTube, TikTok's the same. I'll post the same video there for the
Mhm.
shorts. Instagram usually is just something different, a collection piece, a card we pulled, maybe promote a
Mhm.
graded card I'm selling, whatever, just something, whatever the day is. And then Instagram and Facebook are doubled. So really get to share some content there. Um, but it really helps out a lot with at least the video side because after these podcasts, I'll run this through Opus Pro, and that helps me kind of break down the videos. I'll pick 40 or so different shorts, 30, 60 seconds shorts, and I'll just store them. So then I have like this
Mhm.
huge bank of shorts for all the podcasts. And then from there, I'll just kind of try to cycle through and just look through different ones and just find something for the day and just post it. So I don't write anything special in terms of the description. I reuse what we had in the live so I can promote the guest and promote the business and everything there. So that's pretty easy. It takes more time just to edit the video initially so I can get it uploaded and then pick the 40 or so different shorts. That helps a lot. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we got one from BB. Good to see you, BB. No worries. No
Maybe.
worries. Yeah, man. We'll catch you later, man. Thanks for
He's
stopping
I
by.
gotta get with him too. He sent me links to because I told him I wanted to learn how to play Lorcana. So he sent
Mm,
me information on that. I have to get to that. But yeah, shout out BB man.
good to see you, buddy. Before we leave the content space, though, there's one thing that I want to tie all this together with.
Hmm.
And that is, as we look at your eBay, we look at now your journey on Instagram, perhaps even YouTube, fingers crossed. You're really building your brand.
Yes.
And that's something that I can see going through evolutions, like most of them typically would.
Hmm.
How much thought are you given to your brand and to what you're presenting? Back to even your comments that you were making about eBay. You want it to look good. You want to present well. I
Yeah.
noticed like you have your chef logo there.
Mm.
Yeah. So I mean, talk to me a little bit about how you think about your brand and how you see that evolving.
So I do feel like your brand and reputation is huge,
Agreed.
huge. And I learned that a lot with restaurants, and then it echoes when I listen to all of us, everybody on the YouTube space that we like, Dan and all them. It's like the reputation and the trust and the transparency, massive, you know
Mm, yeah,
and
fully
then
agree.
just I don't know. Again, I like to be professional as possible when I execute something like that. So as I'm navigating myself as a brand, I want to make sure I provide like the best customer like experience or the best experience as a whole, start to finish, you know.
Mm,
So I keep that in mind as I'm scaling and as I'm doing things or as I'm interacting with other people or customers or guests or any
yep.
feedback or anything like that. I have that at like top of my list, and then money and all that stuff comes second. Like the ultimate defect, is what is like a guest leaving unhappy or a customer leaving
Right.
unhappy. So I take that to heart, so I feel the same way. Like I want you to come look on at the store, see something you like, and just have a good overall experience. I like Snorlax and all that stuff, and I feel like you look at Snorlax and it just makes you like happy, so, like warm
Right.
fuzzies, So I like Snorlax for that too. Like I wanted something also that's very like, I don't know, I want you to smile, I want you to enjoy, I want you to love the card you have, I want you to get exactly what you paid for. I want it all to be right, so that's how I'm navigating myself as a brand. And then again, I'm trying to interact as much of my personality as I can in it, as far as like the chef thing and food and going like that. So I do try to do that. And I try to be as personable as possible. Like I always write like a thank you note on the cards. I'll draw like a little chef hat on there. But I'm very appreciative of everybody. So I do like little things. I'll throw in like an extra card in there, like just some added value to something. And like I don't know, I just like that. I want somebody to be happy, and then they get like a little surprise or something. They're like, oh, that's nice, a little thank you card, or oh, that's nice, a little extra card, or I
Right.
like that. So I think about that. as I'm navigating up and scaling and kind of doing all that.
You put your son to work. You know, your son, I
Yeah,
need to
he
make
can live. Yeah,
5,000 energy cards with the chef's hat on
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I wish I could get copies, like a bajillion copies of that full art cook card
Uh,
and just throw them all in. But
oh, that'd be awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
So I think that's a great foundation because it really does set the stage. You know, and I think I even talked about that with Rob and a few others.
Hmm.
Having those happy customers, and even Ponga recently, and having them return and be happy with
Yeah.
that experience, that is where you want to be. So that requires good service, good delivery,
Hmm.
good product, good price. And if
Hmm.
you get all that right, you know, those little things people might think, oh, I can get more margin if I just do this or do that. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like even like everybody mails cards in like a little envelope letter and stuff, but I hate when I bought a card, I got like an envelope. So like I pay a little bit more in shipping on like some of packaging, but I like that experience. Again, I like that
Yeah.
it
I do the
feels
same.
like a little bit more care kind of into the
Yeah.
card that you just paid for. And then sometimes it's again, you learn as you go, right? So sometimes there's a mistake, and it's how you react to those mistakes to make it
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
And man, it was the first slab I ever shipped out, and I
Oh
messed up
no.
the weight on the packaging. So I was more like, this guy reached out and he sends me these two pictures, and it's a picture of him and the postman. And it's like this random like mail guy, and he's handing him a bill to pay for the rest of the shipping, that because I offer
Oh
free
no.
shipping, and they wouldn't give him the card until he paid for the shipping. I was mortified by that. I
Oh
was like,
no.
no way. I was so embarrassed by that. I hated every second of that. So I would not let the guy was like, hey, it's cool, just pay me. I was like, absolutely not. You are not paying for this. You're not even going to pay for the card. You're not going to do anything. So I did a full refund for this guy, and I was like, that is not what I'm about. That is not the experience I
Yeah.
want you to have. Like I just don't like that. And again, I was like super embarrassed about it. So I made it right. I was like, you're not paying for that experience. You're not paying for that card. You're not doing that. Whatever. The very next day, that dude bought the equivalent of what that card cost and a bunch of my singles. He was like, "Hey man, that was really awesome." And then he did like, so for that full circle moment, that was,
Exactly.
dude, that was
Exactly.
such an awesome experience to have, like navigating that challenge and then kind of coming full circle like that. Like, that was really cool. That was nice.
Case in
Yeah.
point. Case in
Yeah.
point.
Case in
Exactly.
point.
Yeah.
Case in point. Yeah.
Do the right thing. I just had somebody send me some pictures, a couple of cards there were not what they want to see. No problem. No problem. Send them back if you want. If
Mm.
not, keep them, and I'll give you the money back. No big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
So I like these, but this one wasn't, quite right. And I really don't get that many complaints. I know some people say, "Oh, don't offer returns and don't do all these other things on eBay." And I've had very few issues when it comes to people trying to rip
Yeah,
you
I've
off
never,
or
I haven't
lying.
really. I had one
Um,
guy try it, and that was kind of easily dealt with. And then I
yeah.
think that guy back, like I killed him with kindness, and he was like, no, no, like he backed away because I was like, but that was fine. And then I had that incident. That was really it.
Yeah,
I haven't
that was
really
it. Yeah.
had too much of anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a few. I've sent like the wrong card one time. Like I sent like a hollow instead of the reverse hollow or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, I'm
Mm,
so sorry." Like I'll send it. I'll send it out to you tomorrow free of charge. Don't worry. And that
yeah.
was it. It's like keep the other one.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
you gotta remember to take it out of inventory. Yeah, it's all about the experience, man. All about
Hmm.
experience. All right. So one thing I gotta know, out of all the people, you have to know, chef. There are so many cooks, chefs, restaurant staff in the Pokemon hobby. What
Yeah.
is it? Is everybody from that space coming into Pokemon? Everybody has
Oh
some
man.
connection and story to it.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just crazy restaurant people. Crazy restaurant people attaching to something. We lock onto stuff. But you're right though. There's a lot of people I'm surprised
A
and
lot.
that are in the industry or from the industry or were in the industry that are in Pokemon. And
Yeah.
I thought I was the only one for a long time until I started seeing everybody else kind of talking about it.
Yeah.
Um I don't know. There's got to be like some like
It's
trait.
correlation. Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be something that we're all. But if we're all, maybe that's it. Maybe it's just we're all crazy people in the restaurant industry, and maybe that's a defect. Pokemon,
leading the revolution.
yeah,
Viva la
AK.
Sorry, I missed you earlier, Cameron. Thanks for stopping by. Are these some
That's
friends from
treetop.
work?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
is it?
that's Cameron. That's treetop. Don't let him fool you. That's treetop. And then the other guy, Alexander, that's AK.
Good.
He's at the job too.
All
He's
right.
awesome.
Like it.
Yeah.
You missed a story about you earlier, Cameron. You gotta go back and check it out
Yeah.
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I'll just say Mewtwo, and you maybe you'll remember. Maybe you'll remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about your perspective on the market, though, because you're dabbling. You like Japanese. You like English.
Hmm.
You're from raw to graded. You play TCG. You go to your local
Hmm.
card shows. You get a
Hmm.
good dabble in a little bit of everything. How
Yeah.
have you seen the market, both from a collecting standpoint, investing, buying, selling? What's your view? How is it trending? How is it looking?
Overall, I'm bullish on it for sure. Yeah, it's a good time to buy. Um, but I really feel strong about that. And we kind of talked a little bit about that, and Java. I think you did a clip with Java and stuff, and talking about the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
The kids are very much into Pokemon still. So I look at that and it's like it's a no brainer. And I always have a box of cards in like my office in the restaurant. So there's not many kids that make it in the restaurant. So when they do come, I'm always like going to the tables. I'm like, hey, is it okay if I give them some Pokemon cards? So I'll like give them a bunch of Pokemon cards, and they go bananas. They go crazy about it. So it's like,
That's awesome.
dude, I'm very, very bullish. And then you see these collecticons people are buying. People like there's plenty of people out there, and you're talking, biggest IP, and Pokemon's a lot larger than what we think, and all these like aspects and all these things. But I really feel that way. I really feel strong about it. I really feel like it's not going anywhere. I really feel it's gonna last. I'm curious to see. I think what is it tomorrow that the new show starts and the new generation of that without Ash and all that. And now there's a girl in there, and um, I'm very interested to see how that goes, like with my kids, and see how they latch on to
Right.
it. Um, but like my daughter loves Sprigatito, and some of these newer ones, and it's funny, it's funny
Mm.
to see her. I want to say funny, maybe interesting. It's very interesting to see. But now anything like yellow border to them, they're like, that's old. These are old cards. Anything with yellow border. So that's funny too. You know,
Huh.
but
It's getting
overall,
to be a
very
theme.
bullish, very bullish.
Okay.
And then Pokemon Pocket, I think like there's mixed feelings
Mm.
about that. But if you watch Pokemon Classics video or Brian Pokemon NE, I agree 100% with them. Like I do think this is going to be very successful for Pokemon. I do think it's a very dumbed down version of the TCG,
Yeah.
and it'll grab people. And I think I'll even play and kind of do that, like something real quick, boom, 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 and kind of real quick games and be done. That's like I liked Mario Run for a while when I was on
Mm.
egg. It's one
Right.
hand you go, and it's like quick game. It's like fun to kind of do some like in a line or like do something somewhere. So I do feel like that will be successful, and I do think it'll hook people who like, hey, this is pretty interesting. Let's see the better version or the real version of it. But I also feel like on that Pokemon Pocket thing, like I really wish they'd make the live TCG live like a lot better, and kind of
Right.
focus on that too for like the players. But I do think Pokemon Pocket is going to be crazy, and wildly successful, and again overall bullish, 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 like crazy.
All
Mm.
right. Yeah,
What
I
about
would agree
you?
with most of your points. I think them attacking in a good way the younger
Hmm.
generation with Pocket is going
Hmm.
to be a game changer.
Hmm.
Um, Especially with as many, unfortunately, as many kids on the devices, the tablets, the phones, now getting the cards, doing a little trade,
Hmm.
playing a quick game without all the
Hmm.
complexity of the poison and the confused and all the other details.
Right.
It it makes a lot of sense, and I think
Yeah.
that app is really transitional. Like I
Hmm.
don't. I'll probably just download it and check it out. But
Yeah.
I'll probably spend my time on TCG Live because
Yeah.
that's
For
where I got
sure.
my cards. I
Yeah.
want to play a real game.
Hmm.
I think that's a transitional gateway for the kids. And then
Yes.
they're gonna be getting the packs, and then they'll be playing live, and then they'll go to the tournament, and
Yes.
then they'll go down the
Correct.
rabbit hole of YouTube, and then they'll be on a podcast, and it's all
Yeah.
downhill from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All downhill from there, man.
All downhill.
But yeah. No, I agree though. I think it's looking really good. I mean, even if I just even speak about it from a sales perspective, sales have been really strong.
Mhm.
It's nothing but growth. Can't. It's not like it's one variable. Obviously, I continue to get different inventory, new things. So that does impact, the buyers. But people aren't buying less. People aren't
No,
paying less.
these
If
eBay
I get
lives are
somebody
going
saying,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I get somebody says, hey, will you do 40 for this? And I said, well, I'll meet you in the middle. And
Mhm.
it's usually they're trying to negotiate $5 or something like that. So it just okay, $250, $200.50 more, and we'll be done, and that's it.
Yeah.
They buy it. Like I won't even send like a bunch of messages. I'll say, hey, I'll split it in the middle. Happy to do that with you. Send the offer right away. They buy it.
Yep.
They don't second guess it. They don't try to negotiate more and haggle down. They say, okay, that's good.
Yeah. I don't feel like there's a shortage of people, and like I said, these Nick and Weedle's eBay lives, I'm in there almost every night, and it's wild. It's wild. I
Yeah.
mean, pack. It doesn't matter. Pack every auction. Pack rips. Like it just goes crazy. It goes crazy. It's nuts. It's not. And then to hear like Nick had his video, I think today to hear his like numbers and percentages on pack rips versus auctions, and like that is
I
wild. If
didn't
you
see
haven't
that.
seen that, you should see that because
Okay.
I was like
Okay.
I've been wanting to know like kind of that side. I love that he's doing the behind the scenes stuff because I'm so interested in what he does. So to see him talk about that and put up the numbers and stuff, it was very awesome for me to see and very like eye opening.
Hmm.
Um, and a little bit shocking. Like some of it is like, man, you thought, or I thought that it would be this percentage versus this, versus like he was talking about pack ripping sales versus like his auctions. And I
Right.
didn't think his pack ripping was going to be as high as he said. And he didn't think it was going to be as high as he said. So it was like very interesting. But at the same time, like I see his pack rips too. They go like people, man, it's wild. And then they're all
Hmm.
it's a lot of the same group that goes in. You get a lot
Right.
of regulars in there, and it's a good group of people. And they crush it. Like it's a fun experience. And then his auctions just crush it. And then the pack rips,
Yeah.
like again, to kind of bring it all back, it just there's no shortage. There's no shortage of buyers, and if they want that, they're gonna come find you.
Yep. Fully agree. I have to check out that video though. I hadn't seen it yet. Hadn't
Yeah,
seen it.
great.
Hey, thanks for stopping by, Jake. Appreciate it, man.
Jake.
All right, my friend. Let's do some rapid fire. You ready?
I'm always ready. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. The first one's generic. So just kind of anywhere Pokemon space, non Pokemon space, unless I
All
say
right.
otherwise. Hardest dish to cook.
Hardest dish to cook. Man, I would say for somebody like trying to do the Wellington thing, that's a pretty difficult one to navigate. Or a consomme soup. That was always like one of the biggest tests. A consomme soup is like a very clear soup,
Mm,
and it has to be perfectly clear and very well flavored at the same time. So
mm,
to balance that, consomme is very difficult to do.
okay.
Or beef Wellington, but beef Wellington to me, beef Wellington's lame. It's like old, very old, whatever. I'm not a fan, but it's not easy to execute. But there's different answers to that question. I know it's rapid fire, but it depends. Like, are you in a house?
That's
Are you
okay.
in
Go
a
ahead.
restaurant? Or, like,
It was
how
for
are you
you.
executing? Yeah.
It was,
So
yeah. It was.
it would depend for me on that. Like prime rib sucks to make at a restaurant. Like trying to pump out prime ribs at a restaurant is hard, but doing a prime rib at home is very easy.
I
So,
see. I see.
but I would say like consomme is very very tough because it has to be perfect. And somebody say they could whip up a consomme, like I don't buy it. I've rarely seen a good one, but that's few far. Like that's very old school too. A consomme, like, you're not really seeing consommes like that anymore. But that's challenging. Believe it or not, it's very
Apparently,
challenging.
I don't go to
Yeah.
the good restaurants because I've never even seen it on the menu. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Best single card in Sword and Shield.
Ooh, that is a good one. I'm not gonna say Moonbryon. Uh, the man that Aerodactyl and Lost Origin is really nice.
That's a nice one.
That's I feel like that's very underrated. The Giratina I wasn't crazy about till I saw it in person. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But man, the Aerodactyl set, the Starmie from Astral Radiance, the Starmie V with Misty.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Come on.
All right.
Yeah.
It's good ones.
The best, I know, but best, I don't know. That Aerodactyl is so nice and very underrated. That should be like, that is such a cool card. And I'm not even an Aerodactyl fan. But that is an amazing card. I love that card.
Oh yeah, the Lugia V. Yeah, good one, Jay.
And the Lugia V is pretty sick too. The Lugia V is sick. I like the Aerodactyl better than the Lugia.
Do you?
No. I do. I'm sorry, but I do like the Lugia. I pulled that Lugia. How crazy is that? Yeah, and then a buddy at work pulled it the same day. The same day. It was the craziest thing. I was like, no way. Because he was like, is this card good? And I was like, what? And I was like, I just pulled this card too. It was when everybody was kind of finding out those collection boxes are a little loaded.
Oh, the broken.
Or the little tins. Yeah. So I went out and I bought 3. And on one of those tins, I hit it, and I was with my daughter, and she talks about it all the time. She's like, "Dad, you were like, oh," I was going crazy. The other one, like if you Crown Zenith, I guess is in there too. So like the Mewtwo from Crown Zenith is sick.
Yeah.
I mean that's very, very iconic. I love that card too. That's a really cool one.
It is a cool Mewtwo. I actually don't have that one yet. I still got to get it for my Crown Zenith set.
Yeah.
Profiler says, "Could you please say hello there, children, for the fans?"
Hello there, children. I got you. It only takes one. Poolfather. Shout out to Poolfather.
Drop a link for him too as well. Show some love to Poolfather. Yeah. All right. Best childhood memory.
And like Pokemon related?
No.
Best childhood memory. One of my best ones was probably like getting a Nintendo 64. That was a big deal. Getting a Nintendo 64 when I was a kid. Also, one of my best childhood memories is Pokemon related, like camping outside of Toys R Us to get the Mew promo card. Yeah. That was like so awesome.
Best time of your life.
Yeah, it really was. That's probably one of, if not one of the biggest highlights for sure. Okay. Yeah.
One of your favorite hobbies outside of this that you enjoy?
Outside of Pokemon?
Yeah.
Rap music, big time. Yeah. Yeah, I love music in general. I'm very passionate about rap music. I'm always like, if you see me on Instagram and stuff, I'm always shouting out Trick Daddy. Trick Daddy's my guy. I don't care what anybody says. Trick Daddy's my guy. And all the Miami local rappers, those are like, I'm very much home team. But I'm very passionate about rap music. I'm very hard to kind of get worked up and like angry or anything like that. Believe it or not, I'm a very calm chef. But I will get mad about some Pokemon. I will get mad about some rappers. For sure. Like if you want to debate, I'll get very passionate about it. We're gonna talk it out.
All right, those are your trigger buttons. Noted. Rappers and Pokemon. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Don't mess with them. Don't mess with them.
Yeah.
He says, Chef, you listening to Schoolboy's new Q's album?
Schoolboy Q's new. No, I haven't heard him. I'm not crazy on Schoolboy Q. I don't dislike Schoolboy Q though, but I haven't really listened to a lot of him.
Hey Drew, good to see you, bud. Thanks for stopping by, man. Number 1 mod in the game. Mm-hmm. All right, my man. What was the worst gift you've ever received?
One of my sous chefs one time, I hope he's not watching, but one of my sous chefs one time gave me a jar of pickled artichokes, and I was like, all right. Like, I didn't know what to do with that, but I was like, all right. I was like, pickled, but like, we ate them and used them, but it was just very random. He's like, oh, I got this, got this gift for you. He was very, very excited. And it was pickled artichokes. And that was probably the most random or
Um,
worst
I don't think I've
thing.
ever been gifted artichokes.
Yeah, pickled, right?
Even better, right? Even better.
Yeah, that's kind of
What
wild.
gets you up and motivates you every day?
Oh, kids, wife, kids. Come on. That the
Yeah.
only reason why I do anything is for them, like
Yeah.
100%. Because other than that, I don't. I care about them three, and that's really it. That's it. That's all. That is all my motivation right there, for sure. Yeah.
Chef loves Drake.
I hate Drake, so that she's trying. I hate it. Hot take, hot take. I hate Drake. I hate Drake.
I always appreciate Chef's honesty in admitting that NC rappers
That
are
is a
better than
lie.
Florida.
Such a lie. See, they're all trolling me right now. Everybody's trolling
You
me.
loved it. Love it. Biggest mistake ever made?
Hmm. Biggest mistake ever made. That is tough. I guess. Hmm. Like culinary school was trash, but I met my wife there. So
Right.
that
Something came up.
bittersweet. Biggest mistake. Maybe not. Um. Maybe not focusing on a better relationship with my sister. Maybe that's a little too deeper now, but we did not live together that often. So it's hard. So I
Mm,
do feel like I could have done stuff a long time ago to make that better. And I'm the older one. And I feel like that falls on me.
mm.
So maybe that. Maybe like,
Bond sibling.
yeah, yeah, or if maybe I'm so trash about being introvert, so it's so hard to get me out to like do things and all that stuff. So maybe that's like whatever.
I
Maybe
understand.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
yeah.
Who wins? Gengar VMAX or Pikachu VMAX? Fighting each other.
I'm gonna say Gengar V Max. Go for
I knew you were gonna say it. I
it.
know that lineup's one of your favorites. I figured you
Yeah,
would go one sided there.
yeah.
Most money you've ever spent on a single card?
It's not that much, believe it or not.
Hmm.
Probably the most I spent was on a Moonbreon, but I got that crazy awesome deal. I think I paid $500 and I got that and a booster box of Paldea at
Hmm.
Collecticon. It was 550, I think, for the both. And I was like,
Oh,
yeah, done. Yeah, I was like, absolutely. And then that Moonbreon graded a 10. It's like,
really?
yeah, yeah, that's
Wow.
the one back there
Wow.
right now. Yeah.
That's
So
a
I
good
was
deal.
like, yeah, that's a no brainer. So it wasn't that much. The most I spent at like in total is almost 2 grand at like in one shot, but that's
Right.
not like compared
More
to
than one
like
card.
everybody
Yeah.
what they're doing. That's nothing, that ain't nothing. Yeah,
Easy stuff. Easy stuff.
yeah.
So, what is your go-to restaurant outside of your own? When you go out to eat with the wife, the kids, or you're just grabbing something for yourself, where do you go that's not your own restaurant?
Oh man, I'm not a fancy guy. I don't come from fancy. I'm not fancy. So I like good like food trucks, taco trucks, or
Yeah.
there's a little bit of an elevated restaurant, a real kind of in between, really nice and whatever, but it's called Crawford and Sons. It's in the area,
Mm,
and I think that guy's the best chef in the area for what he does in his
mm,
There's a couple like very known or Michelin star chefs in the area, but honestly, I don't care for pretty much probably all of them except for this guy. I think this guy does it the best, and his restaurants. I like his menus. I like how he executes. I like what he does. But yeah, probably Crawford and Sons or send me to the taco trucks, man, for sure. Yeah,
don't feel bad. We're right there with you, man. We one of our favorite go-tos is there's a taco place, like authentic Mexican tacos,
hmm,
right next to or attached to the gas station actually, and we go
yeah,
there probably a couple of times a week. It's delicious, good
the
price.
best.
Yeah, they crank them out, and we love them. We love them.
It's hard to go like for me to go to a restaurant, like you walk in and you're like, my eyes are different. So like, I walk in, I see 1,000 different things, and I can tell you as soon as I walk in if this place is run right or is it not run right. And then I can look at your menu and I'm like, don't order that. I know exactly like how they're executing back. Like you can kind of like see the whole picture in one
Mm,
shot and kind of like soon as you walk in or as soon as you interact or as soon as like and then I'll order sometimes based off of how I think it's functioning back there or what I think they're going to be better at
wow.
versus um stuff that they don't make that often and maybe doesn't get ordered that often. So it's like there's 1,000 things that run through my mind as soon as I walk in a restaurant, and it's very hard to have a good time. And then I don't want all the wine and dine and some. I don't like telling people who I am. I don't like telling, hey, I'm an executive chef partner, and like I don't like doing that because then it's like a little bit different. I just like give me regular experience, treat me normal. I don't want anything special. Give me all my stuff, go away. I'll make sure you get your tip. I don't want any. I'm
That's
very
it.
funny. Yeah, it's funny.
I don't want to talk. Nothing.
No, yeah, I just so it's a very different, and then it's hard. Like when you're in a restaurant, like I'm there all day. So like I
Right.
don't necessarily
I
want to
get
be
that.
in a restaurant. I'd rather be
Yeah.
somewhere in his house and someone's abuela cooking, and
Right.
just crushing it back there. And it's
Oh
awesome.
yeah. Yep.
There's a lot of food like that where you take one bite, it just hits you right, like
Yep.
right there, and you're just like,
That's
that's
it.
it. That's what I look for. I look for like that feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So chef prefers the home cooking. I don't disagree whatsoever. It's good
Yes.
stuff. So
Very
that's
much
where it's
so.
at. What would be your alternate career if you didn't go down this path? What would you be?
If I didn't do chef,
Yeah.
I would try to do something with just this exactly. I would try to do something in this
Okay.
Pokemon card world, or I would try to do something in that music world, music industry, or
Okay.
music and film. That's what I wanted to do before. I wanted to do chef again. Like I didn't really want to do chef. I just played the cards that was dealt to me.
Right.
But I really was into music and music production and like doing all that and rapping and all that. Like I liked all that, but it wasn't realistic in my world or financially able to like happen. Like there was just no way. So, here I am. But I like the
Glad you're here.
Pokemon. Yeah, I like the Pokemon and I like music. So I would definitely do something along those lines if I wasn't doing,
Okay.
the cooking thing.
Something your wife knows about you, but we don't.
Something my wife knows about me that you guys don't. Man, I'm very open and honest, so there's not much like when people ask for stuff, I'm very like, here you go, here's me. Something my wife knows about me that you guys don't. I hate buttercream. How about that? That's a very random.
It's all right.
I don't like yeah, I don't like buttercream. She knows that. Nobody
All
else
right.
does, but I don't like buttercream or like cakes. I never had since I was like a little kid. I know that's very random, but that's what I
That's
got
all
right
right.
now. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
We know the answer to this one. Stone crab.
Stone crab, you know it. You know it. You know it. You know it.
Worst thing you've ever cooked, says Ryan.
That's multiple because sometimes some guest or somebody will have some vision of what they want, and it is
Mm,
I don't know what the heck is going on or what they're trying to pair or what they're trying to like do, and you're telling you want me to make this, and you're just like, okay, you're gonna eat it though. So honestly, it's like kind of stuff that people their own creations, and you're like, all right, it's like people, Ponga always talks about he doesn't like medium rare steaks or anything like this. So I always make fun
right.
of him about it. So like someone like him ordering well done steak and then throwing ketchup all over, I'm like, what are you doing? So that I hate that stuff. I hate that big
We
time.
got one here from Navi. I don't know what that is there in Fort
Google it.
Lauderdale.
No, I never. No, I've never seen that, but that's really cool and
Hmm.
homestyle. But there's a couple places
Brazilian.
like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I think there's a place called like Bedner Farms that's
Hmm.
somewhere down there. that they do. Like there is places where it's like weekends only, or like a table. There's a couple places locally here where it's like, hey, on only on Saturday, Sundays from this time to this time you can get this. But those places are awesome. I've never been to where he says, but I wouldn't doubt it. And Brazilian cooking down there, like
Yeah,
like
for
the
sure.
food down there is just like amazing. Yeah, it's crazy amazing down there.
What does the hobby need more of?
I think more. I don't think you can get enough of positivity, for sure, and transparency. I would say transparency, positivity for sure. Not that anything's like crazy negative or anything like that, but I feel like sometimes you get caught up in stuff, and it's like, dude, hey, yeah, it's cards, bro.
It doesn't
You know,
matter.
like
Yeah.
we don't got to take it that serious. You know, it's not that serious or for me. You know, and I'm a very like I'm all about the happy vibes and good times and like positive and all that stuff. So it's like, hey, why are we even here? You know, or if we
Exactly.
are here, let's talk about it and
Let's
off
move.
to the side,
Yeah.
you know, and then kind of
Yeah.
move forward and move past, you know, not like sit, but transparency and positivity. I just feel like you can't get enough of.
Good answer.
Mhm. Mhm.
Move over to the PokeTuber side. So name that PokeTuber. All right.
Oh no! All right.
Who
Oh
do you
man,
think would be lightest on their feet?
Ponga. Ponga's a feathery fella. He's a feathery fella, so maybe Ponga.
Video most recently shared with somebody.
Video most recently shared. I probably shared the one Nick posted today about his
Okay.
numbers and his eBay live.
If you were to show up in court, who would you
Oop.
hope would be your judge?
Who would I hope to be my judge? That is funny. Um, maybe Shiz. I want Shiz because he'll probably be like, "Hey, you're good," you know. Like Shiz would probably have my back. You know, Shiz would be like, "Ah, this guy's all right."
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
good. It's
probably
like, send him
Shiz.
home. Probably with
Yeah,
a joke too. With the joke.
yeah, yeah.
Most likely to return their raw cards just purchased because they weren't truly nearly mint.
Walrus. Walrus.
That was
Well,
quick.
even if they were men, he'd probably be like, "Here you go, just for the walrus fact of it."
Skater Nesto says we need more women in
More,
hobby.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I
You're
don't
not
want to get in
wrong.
trouble. You're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
wrong.
you're not
Have
wrong.
at
You're not wrong.
it.
Percentages there are low, at least on YouTube statistics. That's for
Yeah, it
sure.
is.
Most informative.
Most informative. Uh, maybe Dan. Dan is really, or the Pokey Flips, or Jake
Yeah,
Pokenomics. Maybe Dan. Dan is very. I love how Dan does this stuff. Like again, we joke about Dan, but like Dan is very thorough. Dan is very
yeah,
cross T's dot I's. Dan is very like in the know and controlling of what he's doing and breaking down and like having very organized, and like I
yeah,
love, especially as a chef, I like Dan speaking my language. Dan is doing all that stuff. So
yeah.
maybe Dan with all that.
And when he's doing pre-recordings as well, like he pack because he's thinking through what his content is, and he
Hmm.
packs that video just full of just one fact after the next in information.
Yeah,
Whereas if it's a live, sometimes it can kind of wander in different directions. But when he does his pre-recordings, yeah, jam packed, jam packed.
yeah.
Who had the biggest transition in 2023?
I would say Bierski. And I don't
Mm,
think it's over. I like I if
no, he's just
I
getting
talk
started.
to him,
Yeah,
yeah, I talk to him all the time. I'm like, 2024 is your year. I think I tell him that every time I talk to him. I'm like, your year, bro. This is Bierski's
yeah,
year. This is your year. But yeah, dude, to see Bierski, Charlotte Collecticon, to what like all the moves he's making right now, like again, shout out to Bierski. Love that guy. I love to see what he's
much
doing. I love
love.
to see
Yeah,
where he's going. But I do think 2024 definitely his year, and he's gonna continue to do big things for sure,
I
for
fully agree.
sure. Yeah.
Yawn.
He's always at the yawns. Always at the yawns. He was roasting at me yesterday, right? It was yesterday or
Yeah,
today. He was
yeah.
roasting me.
That's all
Yeah.
right. That's all right.
Whatever.
We knew it was
Whatever.
coming, Skater Nesta. We knew it was
Yeah,
coming.
we knew it.
Yeah.
At
If he
least he
didn't
was
do it,
catching
we'd be
all.
upset. Exactly.
He's yawning, catching. Yeah.
Who would you like to cook your last meal?
Like with or for?
They would cook for you. It would be your last meal.
Like cook for me or what I would like to eat?
No, but they would. Who would you want to cook for you? You don't get to pick the meal, just the person that
Uh,
would cook for you.
probably my wife. She makes like these enchiladas that are my favorite, and she makes a rice. We call it a family rice. She'll hate that I say that. Hey, that's one thing she knows that Pokemon doesn't know. But
Yeah,
probably that she like it's again one of those things that kind of hits home. When
I love
you have that stuff. So probably that I would probably want to go out that way.
it.
Yeah,
Nice. Who do you think you've watched the most hours of?
probably Nick, and that's because of
Yeah.
the eBay and eBay lives.
Mm,
And Nick, I feel like he's just the nicest guy in the whole hobby. I think he's just a
yeah.
genuine dude. I watch him before. I would say like we always go back to Nick and Dan, and I hate repeating Nick and Dan, but Dan, I watch a lot of his stuff. Obviously, I'm all over Beerski stuff, but I would say I'm consistently with Nick the most because I'm in his lives every single night. I'm in his lives all the time, and if he's not streaming, I'm probably in Weedle's lives checking that out. If I'm not bouncing around YouTube or seeing like your lives or if PK's got something going on, but I probably spend the most time with Nick.
With Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, and Nick.
Lots of love. Yeah, he's one of the most positive dudes that I ever knew, and he
No,
just it
that
just
guy.
radiates from
He
him
is, man.
naturally. Yeah.
He's such a good guy. And believe it or not, Walrus has said he's the nicest. He's the nice. Don't
Yeah.
let him fool you. Walrus is a super nice guy.
The best Collecticon coach.
The best Collecticon coach, same thing, Dan. That guy, you see him in the Discords organizing. He is the coach, right? He's like, oh, I got this
That's right.
play, I got this. We got the power L, we got this section. Who's got tail? Like he's the soccer mom of the group for sure, right? He's
He's
got
gonna love that.
the man, right?
He's
Yeah, he
gonna
is.
love that.
He is. He's got the
Uh,
juice boxes and the orange slices. He's getting everybody snacks and
I
food,
love
right?
it.
He's the guy. He's the soccer
Here's your
mom of the
peanut butter and jelly
collection.
sandwich, kids.
Yeah, he's yeah. So I think he's like a good coach. Mason's always pretty good about that stuff too. But yeah,
I
Dan
love
is funny because he takes on that soccer mom vibe with everybody. Yeah.
Dude, I gotta say though,
Yeah.
Dan, it's not as good without the beard, man. I saw you trimmed it.
No,
Not having it, man. Not
I
having it.
know. I know.
Good to see you, Professor Oak. Great to see
Professor
you, man.
Oak, love
Good to
him.
see you, bud.
Yeah,
Who's got the heaviest bags in the hobby?
heaviest bags. Maybe Rusty. We're talking about the same that Rusty's got. I mean, Rusty's got a bag. I think I think Rusty is he's like the collector's collector. Or
Yeah.
he's the business side. The flipper's flipper. He's the business. The Pokemon's Pokemon. He's that guy. Like you said it in your one. Like there's one name that everybody says, all of us say, it's him. So
Yep.
probably him. He's I think I said it to you too. He's like the lighthouse, right? He's like the beacon.
Yeah.
He's the
Yep.
heart and soul of that part. Yeah.
Let's just hope he doesn't take that year off he talked about.
No, but if I was him, I would. I'd be like, hell yeah, like I'll take a year
Yeah.
off, and I think he should have that experience at being
Yeah.
young and with your wife and kids. Like, dude, he'll be okay, and he can come just like you said, come back and do his thing, and yeah, maybe he lose, and he's awesome. He's like, maybe I'll lose this, but I'll be fine, and I
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah.
love it, but he's so right. But I would absolutely be able to take a year off, spend with your wife and kids and stuff. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. That
I don't
part.
think
Yeah.
there's a price on that,
Mm-mm.
So
Mm.
I encourage him to do that. I think that'd be incredible to do that, and what an experience. So all
Yeah, I
for
was speaking more from the perspective of the hobby. Yeah, 'cause I think if he
it.
took it, he'd enjoy it so much he may not come back.
Yeah, right.
He'd be like, "Yes, I'm good. I'm good. I'll sell this stuff later. Let it appreciate." All
Hmm.
right. So now you're building a team in the kitchen, and you have to pick
Mm,
all PokeTubers for your team.
mm.
So now you gotta pick the position, name the PokeTuber,
All
and
right.
why.
Dan's gonna be on Broil. he's with the meats. All right, he's the
Yep.
brisket guy. He's all that. I could trust Dan to not mess with the big money. Um, let's see, saute station.
Mm.
See a saute guy. I'll put Bierski over there on saute. He was working some scallops and some stuff the other day or a
Nice.
couple weeks ago. I'll put my guy Bierski on that. On like fry station or something. Let's put Big Shiz over there. We need a big fun guy
Okay.
over there helping out, kind of just slinging a bunch of fried stuff and kind of doing all that. And then we'll put Nick and Walrus or something over in pantry with all the desserts and all that they can kind of float, stay over there in the annex over there and kind of pump out that stuff. Uh, yeah, I
All
would
right.
probably go like that. That'd be the kitchen lineup for sure. And then Professor Oak. I mean, you gotta have Professor Oak. You gotta have Felipe, right?
Yeah.
But Professor
Yeah.
Oak would be in there too. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
That'd be one. We should find a way to make that just at least a temporary 10-minute reality. Just get everybody together,
I
have
would
everybody in
love
the
that.
same kitchen. Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be
Dude,
awesome.
like Dan talks about his food truck stuff. You know how awesome it would be to do like a pop-up shop and like
Mm.
just pull up
Mm-hmm.
at Collecticons in this food truck
Yep.
and we could sell packs on slabs and slabs. Like
Yeah, that's
whatever,
that's the name of
And
the truck. Slabs and
yeah, slabs and
slabs.
slabs. And man, you tell me that wouldn't be a good
Yeah.
time to take a Collecticon and do it that way for a couple days, like
Mm.
slaying like me and a guy like in a food truck just crushing it, and then we also got slabs and stuff. Like that'd be a great time. So when he talks about the food truck, I'm like, yeah, get the food truck, get the food truck. So
Yeah,
you get
that'd
it,
be
and then
cool.
I'll come, and then we'll have fun.
That would be awesome. You guys would make so much
Yeah.
money, it'd be crazy.
Well, that'd be awesome.
Oak says, I like the pastries.
Yeah, see, he could do pastries all
Yeah.
day. He'd crush it. Crush it.
All right, my man. We're gonna transition it over to the personal side a little bit. So
All right.
I didn't quite get anywhere where you grew up. Where did you have the early childhood?
Specifically Hollywood, Florida, but I grew
Okay.
up South Florida, and yeah, I grew up Hollywood, lived in Pembroke Pines, and I kind of lived everywhere. I lived in Miami, lived
Mm,
in like Coconut Creek, which is like Pompano, kind of up there.
okay.
But primarily, like born, raised, primarily Hollywood,
Okay.
Florida. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you said earlier that you had a sister. You also have a brother.
Yeah,
And
so I
then
have I'm the forgotten child. I'm the middle one. So I have an older brother, then there's
okay.
somebody, and then there's my sister, I'm the somebody. And then I
Mm,
have there's another person in my life. I always introduce him as my brother. He is my brother. He very much so is. But his name is Suk. So I am a middle child, but people get confused because I'd be like, oh, I got two brothers, and I have a
mm,
younger, sister. Um,
I see.
and me, my brother, and my sister we're spaced apart. We're like 4 years apart and 6 years apart. I'm 4 years from my
Mm,
brother, 6 years from my sister, and then they're 10 years apart. So we're
wow.
kind of scattered, very different. Yeah.
And how did Sue get to be your adopted brother, if you will?
Uh, so there is there is a time like my parents divorced. My brother went away for a while, and he was kind of like the one that looked out for me and kind of
Mm,
made sure I was okay, and also kept me in check a lot during
mm,
that time. Uh, so he is like I mean I talk to him all the time. I wish I talked to him and everybody else more. Um, but yeah, he just really he actually made me he put a lot of things in perspective uh because I was looking at things at a very different light, I guess, or going down or trying to go down wrong hole. And he very much so got me in check and showed me, this is not for you. And I went from there, you know.
is he older?
Yeah, he's my brother's age. There, like a lot of
Okay.
my friends back then were my brother's friends. And then I had like the few here and there. I had a buddy, Chris. He just in the chat now. And then I have a friend Derek, and then I had a bunch of friends, yeah, growing up. But a lot of my friends were his friends, and I was always the tag along, always with them,
Mm.
always with my brother. Oh, always doing that. Yeah.
And so Suk, he was already kind of went down the path and corrected course, and that's how he was able to help you, or he just was always on the up and up and just try to help
No, he's
navigate you.
also from like we're all kind of from a rough little world
Yeah.
down there, and I loved all of that, man. To be honest with you, like and then I had nothing going on, like school again, college, kind of
Yeah.
like wasn't none of that was in the works. And being young and kind of the beat of your own drum, you like for me, I loved all that stuff. I looked up to all these guys and I wanted to do all the things that they were doing. And he was very much him and those same guys were very much like, hey, you're different. You are not like this. You're a good guy. You're a good dude. Stop trying to be
Mm.
like this. Stop trying to do this. You're
Right.
not this. You're not, you're not gonna do what we're doing over here, and you're not gonna be a part of it. Like you're better. They would always tell me, like, you're better. You're the one that's gonna go and kind of make it out. You're the one who's gonna
Mm.
do this. And I never like saw that. I was more like, no, I'm gonna do what you guys are doing. I like this. This is what I like. And it wasn't for him kind of like put me in check on that, like a big kind of life changing moment. And then that was it from there, and it really changed my perspective on things. And it kind of sent me down the right path for sure. For sure.
Uh, I can kind of see that you probably have something very specific in mind. Is there an experience there that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So a little bit of context, I don't want to get too deep or whatever, but my brother was very much in a gang, and I grew up very much around a lot of that stuff. And I was very much at that time was very into like wanting to be involved in all that. And especially that's kind of like what you got going on. That's all you know for the most part. And when he left, he ended up like he was in this gang, and then he transitioned to the military, and then he started
Mm.
getting shipped off to like Iraq and Afghanistan, like all sorts of places. So when he left, these guys like kind of took care of me or like looked out for me, you know.
I see.
And Suk wasn't part of that, but he was very much friends with my brother, and he was the one who like took me kind of under his wing the most, but took me with like very much positive guidance and very much
Mm.
straight line when I was trying to be a lot like him and all these other guys. And basically, what happened, he kind of dropped me off at like it was like a dope house, like where they're kind of selling and all that. So he like dropped me off at this house and like left me there for hours. Like I don't think he got me till like the next morning. And while I was sitting there with these guys, like I'm just kind of hanging out, and kind of doing what they're doing. But at that time, they were all like late 20s and 30s and doing the stuff that they were doing there. And like I'm young, I was probably early 18, 19
Okay.
maybe. And I'm looking at these like old guys and I'm like, that like I'm not trying to be their age and do all like, man, like I just feel like they're too old to be looking over their shoulder and like doing all the stuff they're doing and moving around, and like I just didn't like that. So it wasn't for me, for him like dropping me off there and leaving me there to like figure all that out on my own. He's like, you want to live this lifestyle? This is the lifestyle. Here you go. And he just like kicked me out of the car and was like, have at it. And then
Mm.
like some tough love, I guess. But it worked. Like I went there and I was like, not for me. I'm not trying to live like that. I want better than that. So I right after that, that's when I was like, okay, like I need to figure out something and get a little bit more serious and get, you know, everything else going on. And then a little bit later, like I started having kids and all that. So then I was like, well, my son, my daughter, whoever is like not gonna live how I lived and not come up where I came up and not do what I did,
Right.
So that's what motivated me to fix all of it. And then I went from there to here, and did it. But it was It was wild and it was not easy. And it was quite the ride, and there was a lot of stuff going on in my life at that time, all at the same time, and it was tough, man. It was really tough. Yeah.
Because you were not. I mean, you were even cooking at 14,
Hmm.
and so you had
Hmm.
already started, in a sense, the career trajectory that you're on now.
Yeah.
Um, but you still didn't see that as a path. That was more of just a, hey, I'm
No.
earning some money and like I can go spend it and have fun. Right.
Yeah, and I didn't care. Like I didn't care about like cooking. I didn't care. Like it was just a job, and I was like, I'm not trying to do this. Like I want to do whatever. And then when I was running around with these guys and stuff, like I was very much making more money doing all that stuff, And
Mm,
it's hard. It's hard when it's like this is what you're taught, and you're doing and making
yeah.
this, but this is like the right way to go about things and navigating that. So it's like you get very caught up and tied, and then it's like, well, everything you know and learned is
Right.
not right. So then you got to figure out how to move that over and shift that into what's right, and look at like good examples and stuff. So it's just very interesting. It's a very interesting conversation too, because again, like you only know what you know. And the way I grew up around a lot of that stuff, like I only knew what I knew. But I was also very much with the mindset of like, instead of looking at a lot of things and saying, oh, let me do that too, it was always very with the mindset of like what not to do in life. And I had a
Mm,
lot of examples around me, family on both sides, people around, neighborhoods around, of like what not to do. But what really kind of got me going was like the guys I looked up to, the guys I wanted to be like, the guys I like idolized, those were the same ones. Instead of bringing a young kid into that, which is typically what happens, they were very much the opposite. And I'm sure my brother played a large
mm,
role in that. But that's what it was. Like they very much so kept me out. They very much so gave me um
right.
like a good path, and was like, you're not like, do this. Like they would check my homework, they would see if I was doing homework. They would see if I was skipping school. They would tear me up if I did something like that. Like they were
Wow.
very much on top, which doesn't really happen. In that world, that it's like, no, come on in, and
Right. New blood.
I'm very,
Right.
very fortunate to have very good people. And it's funny also to see people's perspective of what good people are, but and that like there was very much good people around me that helped steer that ship, but they also always told me like, dude, you're a good guy, you're a good guy, you're not like, you're not like, what I mean? So, here I am.
Well, and to your point, before Bierski leaves, thanks for stopping by, man.
Beer
We talked
skate,
about you a
brother.
lot.
Shout out Beersky, baby.
Got it written on the bottle. Got it written on
That's
the
it.
bottle.
How much to the homie?
But yeah, definitely catch it back, and it's good to see you, Bierski. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
But going back to your story, that's not common at all. Like to your point, it's
Mm.
very much the opposite when you're in that space. And to have so many people look out for you,
Like all of them. Like there
wow,
wasn't one that was
wow,
like in my ear about stuff. Like every one of them unanimously. Like one guy was good at math, one guy was good at English, so you check that stuff. Then Suk was always like my beacon of like, if any of those guys were telling me anything, like he'd be like, hey, this is what you really need, and this,
right.
and he's always going to be big brother to me like that, and he's always going to kind of steer me right as far as anything like that if I ever need anything. Um, or need to like talk to somebody about something like that. Like he's always been a good beacon for me, keep my head on straight or keep me in check if I'm wrong.
You mentioned your sister earlier, so did she just
Yeah.
kind of navigate away when all this was happening? Is that why you guys grew apart a little bit?
Yeah, like we only lived together for a handful of years, like 4, 5, maybe 6 years at most, and then we all got split
Mm.
up. Like when my parents split, everybody got split. My brother was always doing his own thing and kind of involved in doing his stuff, and then he went off and started shipping out overseas all over the place. I stayed at my dad's. My dad kind of cleared it, and he stayed for the most part in it's called Jupiter's in near West Palm, and he was kind of doing his own thing. Like he didn't do it maliciously or anything like that. Like I'm not like mad at my dad or anything. So, but he left. My mom moved like out of the state very random, and then my sister lived with my grandmother. But it has
Mm.
always been like that, and I don't feel that close to her. I don't. I wish I would, but we just didn't grow up like that.
Right.
And it is what it is. But that's just, I don't know. That's just how it is. But I love her. I talk to her. I have a nephew. Um, I talk to my brother. I have a good relationship with
That's
everybody. You know.
that's Kai, right?
Yeah, there's Kai is one of my nephews, and then I
Yeah.
got, that's funny, that's crazy that you know that. That's Kai is one of my nephews, and then Callum is my other nephew. So
Okay.
shout out to Kai and Callum. Yeah.
So, did you and your brother reconnect when he got back from the military?
Yeah, I talk to my brother all the time. Actually, he blows me up probably 500 times a day, and I can never like get him on the phone. And then he'll like blow me up, blow me up, blow me up, and then finally I get him on the phone, and he's just like talking about nothing, and I'm like, all right, like, cool to hear about this new
Yeah.
girl, I guess.
Is this
But
another pickle jar of something? Yeah.
yeah, right, yeah. But yeah, I talked to him, but he's all over the place. He's in Miami, and he lives in Mexico a lot. He's even a
Okay.
citizen of Mexico right now, and
Okay.
he does this thing over there. He kind of bounces between Miami and Mexico. He's finally retired military, but he's been overseas quite sometimes, and then he also did like reconnaissance Marines and did a
Yeah.
lot of like special mission kind of stuff. There was one time he was like, oh, I've been in nine different countries in like a month, and he's like doing all these like missions in and out and like all this crazy stuff. He's just all all over. But yeah, I talked to all of them.
Good. Good.
Yeah,
It's important to keep that bond as we get a little bit older. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And what about your mom and dad? Are they still alive?
Yeah, they're still alive. They like my dad still lives in Florida. He just kind of
Okay.
he's a very simple man of few words. Always there if I need him. Always know he loves me. Always know he's got my back. Always there for the kids. But he like if you don't reach out to him, he'll never talk to you. He'll like
Yeah.
never. He's just like that,
That's
and
me.
I don't
Yeah.
like. Yeah, I don't like take it any type of way. I just know like that's just how he is. But he's a man of few words, always there saying, and my mom lives in another state. I talk to her all the time. I think I'm going to be seeing her soon.
Okay.
um she does a thing like I have an okay, I think I have a better relationship with them now, I actually with everybody now than what I did back
When you're
then.
young.
And then
Yeah.
yeah, especially like some things you're angry about when you're younger, you don't understand, so you kind of go that route. But now like everything's okay with all that. I talk to them, they're fine, all that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one of the things I picked up on as I looked through your journey and your career is you were trying to get to the top. You wanted to grow, you wanted to move up,
Hmm.
you wanted to advance. Um, that, from what I can tell so far, didn't really resonate from your childhood so much. Where did
Mm.
that drive come from to kind of be the
My
best?
kids, my kids.
Mm,
Like the day I found out I was gonna be a father was that was it, man. And again, coming from where I come from and the stuff I was around and exposed to, like there is no way in hell that my kids were ever gonna do that. Like no way, no
yeah.
way, no way, no way. So that was it. That was like it's funny because I was like a lot of times I was the one that kind of like counted out. They're like, he'll never do nothing with his life, But it wasn't that. It was like I just didn't have nothing going on. I had nothing, no purpose. I was like, I got nothing. I'm just like floating through life. So like, what am I even trying to do anything for? But it wasn't until that I was gonna be a dad that really was like, I need to like make sure we get
Mm,
it together. And that was crazy too because it was my wife and we had two kids at the time, and like we were living out of like one bedroom, and at my dad's house, and there was like he had like a girlfriend at the time, and it wasn't like the greatest situation like by any means. But it's hard. Like you got nothing to your name. You got a girl who's like rocking with you. You have two kids. You're all kind of squeezed in one bedroom, and you're trying to like navigate from scratch, like nothing to something. And like I just got motivated. Like I don't like to lose, and I'm very stubborn, and I'm very like I'm not shy to like work or do anything.
Right.
So I don't lose, I don't fail. Like it will not happen. If I fail, I'm gonna try harder. Like it'll motivate me. So when that was happening, I'm like, game on. Like game on. Like they're not, I'm gonna get us somewhere. And I would tell her all the time, like, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna get us like wherever we need to go. And the only thing that I could think of at the time was cook like restaurants, like Chef World. And then that's when I just started to
Mm.
go really hard and
Oh,
like trying to
okay.
find the right place. And then now I when I found that right place where I'm currently at now, that's when I was like, wow, like this
This
is
is
where it
good.
is. This is the spot. This is where I need to be. This is where I need to put all my attention. And then it was just a lot of sacrifice and a lot of stuff. And it's crazy when you're trying to navigate that. You think you have a support circle this big, but when you start making those sacrifices for those goals, your support circle goes to this because then everybody hates you for not being around and like all these things,
Right.
and they call you all sorts of stuff. I don't care. I'd rather my support circle be this big of people who really support me versus this big of like a bunch of nonsense. So it was just like grinding, sacrifice, um, really working to get out of that. But I did it really fast, man. It was way faster than what I thought. I went, I had finally gotten my first exec job, which was like a nightmare job, but like you need it on the resume. You need like your first exec job to kind of like have that. Once you have that title, nobody can really like take that from you or take it off your resume. So you can kind of start applying for the bigger jobs. So I used it as like a stepping stone job.
Mm-hmm.
And then that place was like a nightmare. And then I went back to an old company that I was really trying to work my way up with. But the problem with
Mm.
them was, um, I was very young and they weren't really willing to bet on that. And for me, the finances wasn't what I thought it'd be. So I'm like, man, I'm going to work all this, to get this when I could just work two
Right.
jobs as like a line cook and figure it out. And it's almost the same hours. So I didn't do that. And it wasn't until like I got with the company that I'm at now, and I've been there again 11 years, that I was like, man, this is where I want to be. And restaurants are very toxic, bro. Restaurants are very rough. Managers are very rough. There's a lot of terrible people in restaurants. There's a lot of rough stuff in restaurants. So it's hard to even find a good one. It's hard to find like good people running them on top of that. So you'd find a great restaurant, but crappy people. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
you'd find like a
Or vice
great team,
versa.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like terrible. So this is the one that had it all, and then you got a lot of people who lie to you in the space like, hey, we'll do this if you do this, and then they don't do it.
Yeah.
This was like the first place I got to, um, that really was like coming through for me, and then they were also there helping me. It was the
Mm.
first time that I've ever had a job like help, do things for me, and that job where I'm at now, that's why I'm so loyal to them, is they did wonders for me. They changed my
Mm.
life, literally. Um, but I got in there and it was like in 10 months I made sous chef, because when they told me like that opportunity is on the table, nobody really is biting at it. And we're a growing company, we want to do all that stuff. And I'm like, nobody wants it. Like, what do I got to do? Like, are you kidding me
Pick
right
me.
now? This place?
Like,
Yeah, it's exactly. And there was not a person in that building who was going to outwork me. Not a single person. So I would set up my stuff. I would set up the next guy's station. I set up this guy. I'm like, you guys are crazy. And they're like, why do you work so hard? I'm like, man, these guys are telling me they're going to offer me this if I just go X, Y, and Z. It's simple as that for me. And I got kids or whatever. So I was like, absolutely. I was hungry, man. You're talking about
yeah.
very broke kid,
Right.
like trying to figure it out. So I'm like, are you kidding me? So I did that, man. I'd walk by my chef and he'd be doing something. I'd be like, yo, you teach me how to do that, you'll never have to do it again. And then he'd teach me how to butcher, do something. I'm like, game on. So I'd set up my station, I'd go butcher, and I would just crush stuff. He'd call me, I'd pick up, he'd be like, what time you want me in? I'd come in. I was always like that guy, but prioritize that stuff and
Right.
with a goal in mind. And then once I hit sous chef, it wasn't but like a year and a half after that I made executive chef partner. But again, I was
Hmm.
same hungry, same grind, trying to just go, 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 and focus. And again, nobody wanted. And then when I got to Raleigh, it was a new location that they were building, and
Hmm.
I'm very like humble. So I was like, hey, transfer me. I got some family over there. That'd be cool to kind of get out of here and get away from all this stuff, and I can kind of be over here and take my family here, you know. And when I mentioned that, they're like, why wouldn't you go for an executive chef? And I'm like, I didn't know that was on the table for me. If you guys think I could do that, I'm like,
I'm
yeah, we'll do.
listening.
Yeah, exactly. And then they kind of like threw me, through some hoops. They were like, ship me off here to see, hey, fix this restaurant, fix this location, see what you could do here. And I did that, and then they send me to another one. Can you fix this one? And I did that, and again, they were awesome. I had no money coming up, and it was the first. Like I went to somewhere and it was cold, and you're talking about a South Florida guy, um,
Hmm.
like freezing all the, if it's below 70. So that like I didn't have clothes for any of that, so they like bought me like jackets and like pants and stuff like to go like help them fix his location. But I never had somebody like do some kind of like kind stuff for me like that and kind of set me up to help them, and it was just awesome. Like I have nothing but great things to say about who I work for. Again, I wish I can like mention, because there's nothing but great things. But um, it's just I don't know, it's just awesome. But I grinded from there to there and made it, and I've held that job ever since. I always tell people like guys coming up in my kitchen like, bro, anybody you can make it, anybody can make it. Is maintaining. You got to maintain it.
Right.
It's cool you made it, but can you do it? 11 years? Can you do it 20 years?
Right.
Can you do it? That's where it's at.
What is it? The wolf on the hill is never as hungry as the wolf climbing the hill. Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And one of the things you said as well, another shout out, Beerski, much love,
Mhm.
is that uh, you were looking at it from the perspective, I believe, of talking to people in the back, talking with your team, going through difficult
Mhm.
times, and you say, I can never be degrading to them. I can't speak to an adult in that
No,
way,
never.
and I find it interesting because given the earlier years, obviously the language that's used, how people talk to each other in that space, that's not again something that I would have thought would have been at the core and the foundation.
Mhm.
So, where did this get instilled along the way in that sense of respect for others and treating people the way you want to be treated in a sense? Where did that come from?
Well, it's again like my outlook on a lot of things. It's like what not to do. So any manager that I had, like
Mm,
I mean, you work
okay.
in restaurants long enough, you have very wild managers or very wild like people around you, and how they would speak to me or how they would treat me or how like the things
Right.
that they would put me through. I was always like, there is never a day that I'm ever going to be like that if I ever get a position like that. I would never be
Mm,
like that. And then I'm very big on, I think people should use their power, like platform or position, to help others who genuinely want to like do something in life. So I'm real big on that stuff, and I'm real big about like doing it. And then I also feel like, hey, I did it, you could do it. I'm just some dude, like you can do it too, you know. Um, so again, I'm very big on that. I'm very big on like human treating another human with mutual respect, and we don't always have to agree. And I also think that's okay if we don't agree. We're all different, but let's talk about it and let's figure it out and still execute, or be able to move forward. I don't care if you agree with
right.
me or not, but let's be able to move forward. Let's be humans about it. And a good example is that is me and my pastry chef. I love my pastry chef, right? But the best thing that I love about her and I is anytime we have a problem, she'll come up to me and check me, or I'll tell her and be like, hey, what is happening? What is the problem? You got a problem with me? Let's go. And then we'll like
Let's get it
hash it
out.
out. Yeah, we'll hash it out real quick, and then we get it done. We move forward. I love that about her, and I love like there's other people like both my brothers are like that. Like we got a problem. We are not gonna leave until we hash this whole thing out right now, and then we'll hug. We'll hug at the end. We'll dap up, whatever it is, and we'll get it done. But it's just that it's like the human aspect of it, and not like degrading somebody or not like
Right.
humiliating somebody or like harming somebody or like doing like crazy stuff like that. Like I just cannot do that to another person. And I did not like when that stuff was done to me when I was coming up. So I never tried or never tried to lead that way. Um, and it's just funny, like a lot of new servers that come into the job, they're like, you're not like any chef I've ever worked for. But it's probably true. I'm very cool, calm, collect, and I'm very understanding and I'm very patient. I'm not like crazy when you make a mistake. I'm always like, make new mistakes. Don't make the same one. I know you're
Right.
gonna make a mistake, but make a new mistake. I'll get mad when it's like, hey, you do the same thing every day. Okay, now we'll talk, you know. But
Patience is gone. Yeah.
yeah, make a new mistake. I know you're new. I
Right.
know make a new one, all that. But the way I approach things is very not like how other chefs that I've come across approach things or handle situations
Yeah.
by any means. Very different from that.
Well, and I love the theme here because you're going against the grain almost your entire life of what everybody's doing.
Hmm.
Now, granted, sometimes you had to be pushed. Sometimes you had to say
Hmm.
you're not allowed to be here. We want you to go somewhere else.
Hmm.
But given what was in your surroundings, and when it was something negative, especially as you got older, you didn't look at that and say, "Well, this is how I guess people are and chefs are and the leaders are, so I guess I need to do that too." It was always, "Well, if that wasn't what I wanted, then I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the opposite of
Hmm.
that and
Very
create
much.
something better." And yeah, I think we got some confirmations here from Cameron and others. Sounds like yeah, much respect,
Yeah,
super
yeah,
respectful boss. Yeah.
yeah.
Hey Pete, good to see you, Pete.
Hey,
Question for
what we got?
Chef. What's worse, someone who orders your most expensive steak well done, or someone who orders three courses meal 15 minutes before closing?
Uh, that's both terrible for one. Both terrible. Great question. For
Yeah,
me, I would have to say the 15 minutes before closing, absolutely that worst. Worst, worst,
burns you
worst.
up. Yeah,
Hands out.
burns you up.
Like anything that last hour is
You're
highly
trying
we
to cut
feel we
down and
feel it.
clean.
Yeah, we feel a type of way that last hour. There's a different vibe that last hour, and
Yeah,
there's not a soul in there that doesn't feel the vibe when you're in
yeah,
the last hour. Well done steak, and it's most of the time like you're paying, you're gonna ruin it. So have at it. You know, make it
yeah.
however you want. Have at it.
Here you go, Ponga. Here's your steak.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. So we'll bring it to a close here, my friend. Before
All
we
right.
do though, I just have one question before we get to the last two.
Yeah.
You said that you didn't want to open up your own restaurant,
No.
and I'm surprised. I know you're happy. You found a great
Hmm.
spot. They're taking good care of you. They have taken good care of you,
Hmm.
and much respect for returning that for who knows how many years to come.
Hmm.
But do you not think maybe one day the next stage is going to be your own place, even if it is that food truck with Dan?
I would love to do a food truck. That'd be the only thing. I would do that for
Okay.
fun. Um, I just don't. I just know the ins and outs of what all that takes. I've seen guys do it. And I've seen plenty of guys do it, and it's not where it's at, man. It's not where
Yeah.
people think. Like if you want to sit there and every hour of your life, start to finish, and be involved in that place and doing all that stuff, have at it. But for me, is it's there's no way I'm gonna sit there and do all that to come up short than what I got now. Like there's Michelin star chefs who are underpaid, from what I get paid. And I
Mm,
know where their salaries are at, and I know what benefits they don't have. You know what I mean?
mm,
And they work so much. They like eat, live, breathe. Like some of those chef-driven restaurants, if you've seen or been in the back, like some of them legit have like a little studio apartment in them, like a little bed and a
wow.
little bathroom. Like I've seen like some restaurants like that. They have a little like room, or like their kids come home and they're doing homework in the restaurant and like don't like I don't want that, man. There's
Yeah.
not a chance to sit there and work all that hard to get less benefits and less structure and pay and everything than what I do. Plus, like everything's your dollar. That plate breaks, that's your money.
Right.
Personally, that they drop the forks and then they kick it out under everything. That's your stuff. Like all these people, you can't compete with you can't compete with like wages, because you have to pay lower than the next guy, but expect like this much out of that. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's just there's so many things that there's just no way. There's just no way versus the situation and the setup that I have where it's like very much have support, very much have like a backing, very much I've been through recessions, pandemics with this,
Mm.
with this job, and it's been bulletproof. Like I know a lot of friends who stopped
Lost it.
work, and like lost their restaurants and things closed down and all these things, like there's a lot of stuff. It's pretty sad to see a lot of that stuff, and pretty sad to see like families break up or people like, you know,
Yeah.
just losing their life to something. It's just wild. So there's just no way. There's no way. Like I'll retire with this place. If I continue to like do cooking, if I ever found the equivalent of what I have that's not in the restaurant industry, I would never hesitate at all to leave the restaurant industry. But I do feel like where I'm
Mm.
at is the best case scenario for a restaurant job. But the restaurant
Okay.
industry as a whole is very much a nightmare. Very much. Yeah.
Yeah, and Pete kind of echoes that, talking about anybody he knows has seen it as backbreaking work, and
Yeah, man.
definitely the food trucks to win. Food trucks to win.
Food truck is fun,
Appreciate
man.
appreciate the compliment, sir.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Pikachu.
We running in circles here. It looks like we got a fight in the chat. Cameron or David? Cameron or David? Who's the better one? They're gonna call you. They're gonna confirm.
Uh, I'm gonna hurt somebody's feeling, but I'm very honest. I'm very open, honest. David's my guy. David's the guy. Treetop's the OG, but David's really good. I don't ever want to lose
There,
David.
there it is. There it is.
But I love you,
No need.
Treetop.
No need to pick up the phone. Answers
Yeah,
provided.
yeah,
All right, my friend. It's been so much fun. I've really enjoyed
yeah,
this. Good
man.
conversation, man. I got two for you, as we typically
Yeah,
do, to close this out.
yeah.
As I said in the beginning, leadership is something that's very unique, and it can change people's lives forever. But yet, it's so uncommon. We see very few real leaders that are willing to go the extra mile because they care for somebody and they truly want the best for them. See more managers, unfortunately.
Mhm.
What advice would you give to be a good leader in, out of the kitchen, in life, fatherhood, whatever that may be?
I would say put your team first, man. I very much so care about my team, and I very much so care about my team's family because I also very much so believe that if they're not happy at home or if their like wife or spouse is not happy with them coming to work, it's just gonna be miserable.
Hmm.
So I'm very big on like prioritizing team and what's important to them. Like I may not care, like they don't care. Like if it was reversed and they're my boss or something, and I requested off to go to a Pokemon convention, they're not gonna care or respect that Pokemon convention. But for me, like when they do that stuff to me, like there's a lot of stuff they care about that I don't care about, but it's important to them, and that's why they work. And I want
Right.
them to come back, and I want them to enjoy making work. When you have a team full of people and we all are like happy or enjoying work, especially inside of a restaurant, it makes all the difference, man. It makes like leaps and bounds when you have that. So even when I hire an interview, I look at attitude over anything. Like I'll teach you whatever, and I'll like navigate your skill level and everything, but I want you to have like the attitude and the work ethic. And then I also think about getting along with the rest of the team. I'm not going to hire one guy I know is not going to vibe with everybody else, So I think about all these things, but
Hmm.
that's also thinking about putting them first. And then I'm not the manager who just clears it. I go to every one of my guys, do you need anything before I leave? No. Do you need anything before I leave? No. And I'll go up to every one of my line guys and do that. And then I'll make sure like my food runners, if I leave, because I don't stay all the way to close, but if I leave, I'm like, hey, are you good? Are you comfortable with me leaving? Do you feel like you could finish this out? Every time I always ask that. Every time.
Hmm.
So I do feel like you gotta put your team first, or at least care. Like the bosses that don't care and all that, it's a
Yeah.
nightmare. So if there's anything about leadership, I would say definitely take care of your team, and they'll take care of you for sure.
I like the add in here that Peak has. Real leaders
Yeah.
create more leaders. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. That's the part of changing lives forever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my man. You know it's here. You know it's coming. One day we're gonna leave the hobby, hopefully gracefully, happily, with that same smile you have on your face. But when you do, what legacy do you hope to leave, my friend?
Um, Memories. I want to leave memories. I really do. I want to, like, it's nostalgic to think about your childhood and the fun kid times you have and stuff. Like, I want that at this age range and everything that I'm going on now.
Mm,
And I want everybody that comes in contact with my life to remember me or remember the time with me, that it was like good, like it was happy, it was awesome, like we had a great time, doing this, or like we had fun doing collecticons, and like I'm so excited to like hang out beer ski in Jersey, and like all that, like just the memories. Everybody's so glued to something now and like distracted. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
for me, I want it, like, if there's anything I could leave behind in this hobby or in the Pokemon space, like I want everybody to have like the good vibes, good memories, fun times, like cool to look back and tell stories about, like, oh, this time this crazy chef, me and him did this, like I want that, man. Like I
I
want the
love it.
memories. I want that.
I love it. That's a great answer, man. Have not heard anything like that yet. Very good
Yeah.
answer. We'll take one here before we leave. Ryan says, "Do you think you can beat Gordon Ramsay?"
I think I would definitely do a throwdown. I'm not scared of that.
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
think, like, obviously Gordon Ramsay, but I would definitely throw down. Um, his stuff, the stuff he gets mad at is like very basic stuff. So I think I'm okay with that. But I think I can hold my own. Maybe that's too
Well,
arrogant and cocky, but I'm also a chef, so who cares?
that's what you're supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
So when Chef does leave, you have to do a cook off with Charlie. 8
Dude,
course
I
on
want to
tiny
cook with
plates.
Charlie so bad, so bad. We talk about it all the time. Him and I, that was like the only person I talked to when I started on Instagram for like the longest, was him, and just nothing about Pokemon. Absolutely zero about Pokemon. Only about food and cooking and all that stuff. But yeah, I would love to do something like that.
There it is. He said
Yeah,
it here, Peak. Officially
yeah,
accepted the challenge.
yeah.
Well, everybody, this has been, as always, a complete blast. So much
Yeah.
fun. Thoroughly
Thank you
enjoyed
guys.
it.
Yeah.
Really appreciate everybody hanging out in the chat. Anybody who's going to come watch afterwards. If you don't already, make sure you subscribe. Chef's channel is linked down below. His eBay store is there as well. Go check it out. You won't be disappointed. Some good stuff
Thank
there.
you.
And Chef, thank you so much for your time, man. Much love.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it, man.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Have a great weekend, guys. Talk to you
You too,
soon.
guys.